All right, all right, everything's gonna be all right, all right, all right, oh baby, all right. Hello, this is Howard from Take That. My mum got his this hat in the post, and it's over here. They call it in Sweden Björn's fitter, which means a bear's vagina. Now, I thought that were a bit rude to talk about my mum's cap that she sent me over in post. You know what I mean? Happy 2022 to all. It's me, your main man. So take these broken wings and learn to fly again. Bit of Mr. Mister there for you. A bit of a song from the Untitled. We have a couple of people maybe joining us on the live stream tonight for a bit of chat. And anyone in the chat wants to October Quack Junior B, CJH93, Jonathan of Sideways Shire. Hop on, man. Like, this is the light, yeah. That would be better if I had that kind of light, but the light that I have is still in a backpack in a pub where I regularly play music and just couldn't be bothered bringing guitar and backpack back with me. But it's an old computer, man, but it's doing well. It's not got the biggest processor, but it's reliable, a bit like my own brain. Johnny Sideways, Happy New Year to you too, Horshin. Gavigan says, internet's cuntish bad. That's not good, man. I say, sure, give it a go anyway. Give it a shot. Any crack over in Stockholm? It's been very quiet, man. I haven't really. It's actually snowing now, but it's gonna give way to slush and sleet, which is shite. There's no crack. Even just walking down the street becomes a hazard. Where you're like, if it's been snowing, it's been icy for a good while, and you get the old black ice, man. It's fucking dangerous. I nearly slipped bringing shopping back to the house the last day, man. Could have done my ankle right in. You know what I mean? Chris J. Chris J. How are we getting on? Happy New Year from Kansas. How's the old Tornado Valley going down in Kansas? The fucking Dorothy get back there with the little doggy and those red shoes she does be wearing. No, the fucking Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. Great bunch of lads, man. Great bunch of lads. Dropped some acid with those lads once at the Burning Man Festival, man. Come up like a fucking bunch of bastards. One thing that I have noticed from this, that's not tooth decay, that's snooze. So if I ever look like I've been missing teeth, and I probably look like a Canadian hockey player who's been in a lot of scraps. But one thing I've noticed, I do use a lot of F-bombs. You know what they say? Those who swear have a shite vocabulary. I would like to think I'm quite eloquent and loquacious at times, actually. Jake Topia, Superglue Enema versus Secondhand Toilet Paper. Fight. TQ, how you doing, TQ, man? Good to see you. And Mihal Feline, how you doing, Michaeline? And Greg, how are those old tractors you've been converting doing? That lad can build databases. He knows the mainframe. He's like talking to a lad from Hackers or Sliders, that TV show that used to be on RTE2 on a Sunday night about lads jumping into wormholes and traveling time, man. It's fucking mad shit, man. Mad shit, hey. 1 second here. Have a watch. Anyway. 1 second, I'm just writing a message to a sound skin who's coming on, but he's got the kids. Good crack. Well, I haven't really. The usual crack. Michael Musk, and then Mikey Musk, Johnny Sideways. What's the story for this chat, lad? There is no plan. You know, I was. It's funny. Anytime I'm gonna do a live stream, I'm like, this time, I know what to say. I know what to do. I even hit up StreamYard in case guests wanted to come on for the chat. Usually, it's a Graham. I used to know. I used to know a lad from Bal. The lad Graham. Graham, you're very welcome. We met twice in 2 streams. As Pat Kenny once said to me, we have met twice in 2 weeks. We really should stop meeting like this. Pat Kenny, Simon Strange. Different vid compared to the washing up one earlier. Keeping it real, Martin. Fucking hey. Yeah, the washing up. I was thinking, this is great, man. I can do a live stream and do the washing at the same time. But I've noticed the kids, because I'm like on the phone so often, whether that be talking or just perusing the internet pages and that, I've noticed that they just have no respect for the phone. And I was having a chat with the board earlier on about how growing up in the 80s and the 90s, my mother would have like a special phone voice where she would be like, hello. And if it was someone she would know, it'd be like, hello. And then she'd be like, she'd train us to say, hello, who's speaking, please? But one thing I always found weird was when you ring people, let's say the number was 7261519. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's the number I've just rang. 7261519. You know what I mean? Outlaw Barber. My man Tyler, you got quiet on the video front lately, man. What's been going on? I ain't seen your videos. Got old Tyler down there and Outlaw Barber. Down Oklahoma City. Old fucking Joe, the Tiger King, where he lives. And dropping some truth bombs all up in this Beyotch. CJH93 says, remember the time Pat the Plank got ambushed on live TV? And in the boom time, Pat, in the boom time, you were getting more than the fishing. Yeah, I do remember that, man. But the best was with, how are you keeping, Pat? How are you? You, your sensors, gay burn, you, insufferable arsehole. You arsehole. You piece of shit. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And he was like, sorry about that crude interruption when it happened. He has been removed from the studio. Apparently, that same dude came back a week later. He had the piss heads hump, you know what I mean? I had one of those like three-quarter length, those quarter length leather jackets that are no good for a man's kidneys in the heat of a cold night. And he turns up, and apparently, he drove the car through the front desk, through the window of RTE the week after. God love him. Dave R says, you ever been around Northern Ireland much? Any stories? A couple of times been up in Belfast, and I went to see Loch. What's the fucking Ireland's window? Loch Ness. Seen that once because I was always fascinated to see what it would look like. I was like, Loch Ness, man, it's like Ireland's Lake Michigan. And then you're thinking, wow, can you see the other side? Is it like the sea? It is a bit like the sea, and you can see the other side. So it was still pretty impressive to see a body of water that size. And in the boom time, TQ knows what I'm talking about. You should have shaved before you did that, Brendan. Thanks very much, Sean, for reminding me of that. I love the way Brendan O'Connell, he was going to be a bit cheeky. He was so used to like being a maverick, a young dude. Like it looks like a gargoyle. He was so used to being around RT, he thought he'd give Pat Kenny a little bit of a kiss on the cheek. Ha ha. Should have shaved before you did that, Brendan. Shout out Derry, hey. Serious question, how stateside? He got in touch recently saying, I'm sorry about all the messages and stuff. And I said to his sister, man, I was like, look, man, you've got to have a serious word with that lad, man. He's he needs a good sit down and chatting to, and it's not my place to do that. I've done enough of that over the fucking years, man. Sometimes you can bring a horse to water, like, but you can't make it drink fucking pints of stout, you know what I mean? I'm from Lurgan, South Shores of Loch Ness. There's an old nature reserve there, which I quite enjoyed. I think it was at that very nature reserve that I picked up a copy of John Lofty Wiseman's SAS Survival Handbook that my sister and brother-in-law bought me years ago for one of my birthdays. And I remember thinking, whoa, this fucking book is going to teach me everything. And it did teach me certain knowledgeable things, such as if there's a tsunami, don't go back after the first waves. And there was an anecdotal piece about some lads who went back thinking that the worst was over, and then the backwash came in and just doised them all in. Yeah, Oxford, Ireland. Yeah, so myself and the lads, we did a gig up in Belfast there about good 3 years ago now. Hey, good 3 years ago now. Hey, and then we went there, and I think Tommy Boo and I can't remember who else went with him. They went to the Giants Causeway to go surfing, and I was like, "You lads are fucking mad." And I only had a few days left in Ireland before I had to go back to Sweden, so I had to go back to Mayo, spend time with the family, the friends, have lovely cozy pints and sandwiches and like chocolate. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to take this opportunity to discuss the decline in quality street chocolate by Nestle and Cadbury's now owned by Mondelez. I don't think, I think when I was a kid, man, I remember like raiding, if you were in a relative's house and they had one of the big jars, the glass jars of roses, you'd be like, oh man, caramel keg, the purple, almond or the hazelnut filmed caramel segment, the pink or the green triangle praline. Now it's just full of fucking soy products and lecithin and all this crap, man. I'm not a big fan. Do you know what I mean? I think the chocolate's gone downhill, man. Outlaw Barber, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Very busy lately. Haven't been able to drop many videos once every couple of weeks now. Thanks for all the support. Here's a $5 for a can, mate. Thanks very much. And I will cheers that with Piston Head's Haze Lager. Cheap and cheerful. €1 each, man. It's like, I look at these other beers, more expensive ones that are 3 times the price, and I'm thinking they would taste marginally better, but you get 3 of them for the price of that. So at that price, I know who's winning. Hey, Chris Pez Power Productions. Good lad. Chris now works in a weed dispensary. How about that kind bud over there in the Bostonian Heights? Reinhard Guth. Would you kiss a man for €5 million? I would. And I give him the fucking flute as well. I say, have at that, lad. That's one for me. And then I just like go this all over his chest. Depends on what man though. Sorry for I took it too far there. I sorry about that. I disappointed myself. If any of my family members are watching, took it too far. If it was, if man, look, 5 million quid for kissing a man, I'd be like, I've probably earned fucking less. Just doing shit jobs, which I have. So if that was my, I mean, look, you say that, right? But what's the story? Is it a big ceremony? Like in front of your parents, and it's like they'd have news media there just to kind of really like put the pressure on you. Like I'm sure there are very rich people out there. Like the way when people say to you, "Would you do this for like, would you do like I don't know, like fucking take a shit in your mum's fucking bed for like 50 quid?" Like this kind of thing. I'm sure there are people out there in the world with insane, like imagine Lord Jacob Rothschild. Yes. I would like you to take a dump in a play school. And he would pay someone that money and that to be all over like, the Liverpool Echo, and they'd be like, take the money. I don't know. I'm fishing for. I'm working through this material on the fly, man. Do you know what I mean? Some of it's rough, some of it's ready. But I'm sure there are people out there. I think there was an episode of The Simpsons once where Mr. Burns was paying Homer Simpson money to do really humiliating tasks, and he was doing it. I'm sure there are people out there who just have insane amounts of money that do this. Let me catch up on some of your comments there. Cricks, kicks. Aye, it's 5 mil. You do what you gotta do, my man. Stephen Leonard, Carpacci Lager, Lidl's finest. Carpacci Lager, that's not just Lidl's finest. You'll get that in Centra, in Londis, Tesco. Carpacci, I think it's pronounced in Poland. Lord Skidmarks. If the vax works, then why are the vax going for tests to see if they have a virus they've been vaccinated against? Huh? Yeah, doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I had a bit of a thought earlier on. The way people are like, don't take acid when you're a kid, or don't smoke weed. You'll turn into one of those weirdos. And of course, naturally enough, I went against that advice because the curiosity was more alluring. And at the time of being a young man, all the cool, edgy people that I naturally, being some sort of like dissident against, anything that was expected of me, hanging out with the cool, edgy crowd. So naturally enough, acid and copious amounts of weed came along. And you kind of feel like a lot of the people who are considered as being like fringe crazies or hippies or, social pariahs and oddballs and artists and creatives are usually the ones who are kind of the first to kind of notice if something stinks of shit down Denmark way, yeah. So I was actually thinking, I mean, like, I'm wearing a pretty psychedelic looking t-shirt. Look at that, man. Oh, ho, ho. Got that in London a long time ago. But yeah, it makes me wonder. It's the same kind of thing where people have said, don't get into conspiracies. Don't do it. You'll end up one of those fucking nutters. But then you're kind of thinking, well, there's a lot to be said for, I think, you would be considered as being a mad bastard. But then you realize that actually everything that people are bred to accept is fucking mad. And you seem like a mad bastard for basically seeing what is mad that everyone goes along with. And then only with time, I think there's a lot of people who were considered as being great voices and thinkers and um, prophetic folk. I think at the time, when anything is contemporary, they're shunned and said that they're told that they have dangerous opinions or fucking disruptive opinions, and then only with the generations of the future who can look back and call these things out with the distance of everyone who was associated with that era being dead or elderly or irrelevant, then they start going, you know what? Yeah, Mark Twain really fucking said some very poignant things that went against the establishment. Voltaire, George Orwell, Jim Davidson, great things. The last one was a joke, mate. Fucking jokes, innit? But you know what I mean, man? If you need tires, I'm your man. Vipox 92. No autographs. Good to see you, mate. 5 million. I'll do that for a tenner. I buy that for $1. TQ was good to check in. Happy New Year. Big kiss. Tell the boys I was asking for them and definitely get back on the Hardy Book stories. I'm TQ. God bless you and save you. Talk to you soon. Podcast job. Marty G. What's up, my man? Any other project lined up with the Hardy Buck lads, Martin? In the voice of Ice-T, I can't really think about anything that I want to be doing with, the guys. They live over in Ireland. I'm stuck here in Sweden. I'm kind of like, I got stuff going on here that I can't really do because, my options are limited right now. Every day the hustle. Every day I keep hustling. But, I'm a gangster. I'm a player. I'm always out there, trying to find the next side hustle. So if any one of those guys want to step up to the plate and they're like, yo, dude, let's get a crew going. We'll do something. Maybe hit up the States. I'd be like, sweet, man, whatever. Let's do this shit. Also sounds a little bit like Chris Eubank as well. My sister once managed Chris, and I remember back in 2011, myself and Tordoff were with my sister in Soho in London, and I've never seen so many people to be so enamored and awe-inspired upon meeting a human being. He was walking with a Louis Vuitton foolscap folder under his arm, and I said to him, "Chris, what's in the foolscap folder?" Some documents of mine, and we went and we were talking about Steve Collins and whatnot, and he's like, "Martin, let me tell you something. When you're in a fight in a boxing ring, you are closer to your opponent than you were to your own mother. You can taste the taste of iron in the blood, the salt in the sweat, and you are two opposing forces with the one objective of vanquishing your opponent. But in a strange way, you have never been closer to someone in your whole life." I was like, fascinating stuff. Good lad, Chris Eubank, fair play to him. I was going to mention Mike Tyson as well. Mike Tyson, or Drayton, or was it? What's his name in Simpsons? Dreadham Tatum or something. That's truly unconscionable. TQ says Homer dresses up as a panda. You're right. I'm going back about 5 minutes back now. Hey, you see, J-Bo McNally made it on the United Stand. Yeah, J-Bo, hey, strong dude. Good lad. Pet Power Productions. In succession, the PAI a dude to get this forehead tattooed. Wasn't there a lad who got Monster Energy tattooed all over himself as well? I think I'll have to go here, right? See if I can find. I think what we'll do here is just have a little look, right? And I'll just close these wee windows here, right? So you then you have a look what's going on here. I think what I'll do is I'll Google terrible tattoos, and we can have a little look, see what we got in in the world of tattoos. Sometimes I can't spell tattoos. I mean, I know there's two T's in it, but I get a bit confused. Okay, so I'm gonna try and D this, right? I'm gonna try and D this. Outlaw. Hey, what's he saying here? Tyler, I just seen your comment there. I was thinking about going to visit Ireland, and after researching the criteria for being vaccinated among other requirements, don't think I'll be going. How's Sweden for entry? Sweden is sound, man. You can come from anywhere at any time and have a good time and enjoy. Frederick Tatum, that's one nice one, Leo. Fair play to you. Titan Ranch, same shit. Redrick Tatum. Comrade Lawrence Page, good to have you, Muggus. Hey, we got Sean. Yo, Shawnee, my man, how goes it up there in Chicago? Chicago Town Pizza. Filled cheese crust. Do you have Sean, if you'd like to Dublin's Trillist, big up Maloney, you fucking bowsy. For any of you lads in the chat who want to just jump on, man, this is the new year, man. This is open to guests. Do you know what I mean? I'll bring people in and see what the story is, man. Tyler wants to join in. Michael, Sean, Neo, Dublin's Trillist, any JB, anyone wants to hop in, man. Look, the link is there, mate. You know what I mean? If you want to throw a few fucking quid, just if you're up for supporting the channel, like, man, sometimes I feel bad going, oh, I have to fucking, if anyone wants to donate, I'm like, yeah, like you watch fucking Luke Radowski, We Are Chained. If you watch that, it's like Luke Uncensored. It's like, yeah, mate, we know about it. It's like I just skip through that bit all the time. Yeah, if anyone wants to fucking donate a few fucking green queens or some frog skins, shit, man, I ain't gonna say no to that. You know what I mean? Jade Elvis, how you doing, baby girl? Good to see you. Titties tattooed. Do you know where the books are going after Netflix? I don't know, man. They're going into some sort of suspended animation unless Netflix go, you were moderately successful there, lads. Would you want to come back for a bit more crack? No. And I'd be like, yeah. It would be nice if we could find someone who had more money than sense. And we're like, look, lads, I got more money than sense. And I want to fucking make a new series of Hardy books. And I don't know why they're from Dublin, but they just are. Leo Nolan, tribute to Elvis. Martin, how do you sound so Irish when playing Eddie? I've got a musical ear, man. It comes from a long line of people just in the family. Do different accents. Big Mick is actually very good at doing accents as well. Do your best Eddie Durkin impression. He's no more the fucking shtig than I am Brian Adams, man. Ian McGarr, RT Player. Yeah, it's probably still up on RT Player. And like I've said on every stream, some lad has uploaded all of them, and I mean all of them, to YouTube. And that's just the way it is. Do you get much money from being on Spotify? Liam, very good question. Not a fucking penny, because not many people have. But what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to go to Spotify, right? I'm going to put up last fucking Spotify. Martin Maloney. If you haven't heard it on Spotify, stick it into your track list or what you follow on Spotify, and do have a little listen, man. It's good stuff. Like Ola Aisfjord was the producer, and he does very good stuff. So there is, please do, Martin Maloney, Spotify. I've only got an EP up there. My problem is I'm very distracted, especially by the internet. Also, like, I'm the kind of person who needs someone cracking the whip on me, man. It's Mercedes or bust. Another man who likes the Vapors channel there. Haven't you heard from that man? I heard from him once this year. Parted ways on a positive note, and I was like, fair play to you, best of luck to you, Chris, or Viper, what the fuck your name is now. Don't know, man, right? But that's the fucking crack, isn't it? Is that no autograph says, is that a see-through beard you're growing? Let me see, shite tattoos. Where are we now? Shite tattoos. Gotta have a look at the old shite tattoos. Okay, bad tattoos are probably more of a. Right, so I'm going to go into StreamYard. I'm going to go to share. Oh, little greatest Irish series of all time, Ball Love Hate. I remember a friend of mine slapped one of the Love Hate girls on the arse once in the Globe, and I was just like, he was pissed, and I was like, it wasn't from Ireland. I was like, oh god. Won't mention any names. Cricks Kicks was catching some of his live streams a while back there, but it's been nothing on the channel for a while now. He's probably sitting back just like on a waterbed in Antigua going, ha 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 ha. Just living his dream, man. You know what I mean? Living the dream, Paul. Living the dream. Okay, let me see how to share this screen. Share screen. Right. Window. Chrome tab. LD. Okay, right. Okay. It's My Life, Bon Jovi, great one there. So let's have a little look through these tattoos and see how we get on. I mean, look at this, like, you know, someone Ryan Gosling, like this lad here. You kind of wonder to yourself, how did this happen, man? Do you know what I mean? How did this lad have such a lack of respect for himself? Let's have a look at this one here. Then you know that's permanent, right? Me. So that's good, man. Forever with us. He touched so many. Yeah, I mean, then you got this. You know what I mean? Like someone did that. I mean, how is that possible? Knowledge is power. This one's brilliant, man. He looks like half man, half cat. I remember seeing one years ago of a woman who had a tattoo of like Twilight with was it Twilight that shit that Robert Patterson thing, Freddy. Why get scarred on your face for life? I don't know, man. I mean, you got to wonder, like, how did this happen? You know, it's like how did someone have such a shit time of it that they decided that they were going to just ruin their face? I never understood. You know, that's a very lifelike tattoo. You know what I mean? It's the light and shade is very it's that in fairness is a work of art. This one here, yeah. I mean, I just don't understand, man. It's like something that the Viper said in Series 3 too. I mean, look at this lad, man. I mean, it didn't go well for him, did it? Let's, you know what I mean? You know, I often look at people like this. This was one of my personal favorites, this one here. He looks more confused and, you know, it looks like he's trying to keep a brave face on while being some sort of scary cat, but she looks a bit scared, man. It looks like his heart's definitely not in it. But no regrets. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. This, I mean, like this is great. You know what I mean? Like, you know, well done to this guy because it is something that, you know, upon looking at, you're like, wow, you've turned your head into a driver of this avatar that you're in. Yeah, they're all right, yeah. This Brazilian artist's bad tattoos will have you on the floor laughing. I mean, I think they're good tattoos. You know, I mean, like they're simple and naive in their expression, but they're all right. Fuck bitches, get money. Yeah, that's just shite, man. Do you know what I mean? In fairness, right? Okay, this has been coming up. That's just weird. What's that say? Ride, Grandpa, forever. This lad here. Who's that supposed to be? Looks like Carl Pilkington. I mean, look at that. That's going to upset a lot of people. This was a very good one with Tom York, the nipple for an eye. Quite like that. You know, like, is that Gavigan? Well, yeah, Gavigan, you man, God. I fucking got a tattoo of a Russian Orthodox church on the back of my head, man. It's just the way it was going. I mean, what? What's the crack there? Like, you know what I mean? Kit Kat. You know, imagine getting a tattoo of Walter White, yeah, from Breaking Bad, and like nowadays, series about 13 to 14 years old. Anytime I see a series that comes out and starts off brilliant, so you got something like, right, I'll put those tattoos away for a bit. But whenever you see like a series like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad and it comes out in the beginning, you're like, oh, that's a great series, man. I really like that. And then you see just like Pennies or Primark start selling the merchandise, and then it just, they're about 4 or 5 series in. You're like, when every other Egypt is on to the thing that you'd kind of found early on, and then you're like, nah, man, it's too big. Like if there was a whole lot of Hardy Books merchandise and I was a fan of the Hardy Books and it was just everywhere, I'd be like, nah, mate, nah, I'm not into it anymore. And then maybe a couple of years later, I might rewatch it, like, oh, this is fucking great, man. I don't know what the problem was. You're one of them, man. Knowledge is power, says Ted Lands. Got that one right, man. No ledge, and that's no diggity. That's how it be. There's people that got paid to get tats of brand names on their body. Yeah, let me see. There's this one guy called Mr. Cool Ice, and I don't know who the hell this fella is, right? No idea. Here he is. Does anyone know who this guy is? I'll put it back in, add the stream again. Yeah, Mr. Cool Ice. This guy here. Like, he seems to be a bit more bronzed and jacked. But he's branded himself with, even the back of his head is the skull. A bit of but then there was this there's this fucking weird Russian bodybuilder, man, who tattooed himself with like some reptile stuff. This dude, look at these boys. Yeah. Fucking sand dragon. Look at that, man. The Fibonacci sequence. The golden ratio, hey. That's what's known as he's a bearded dragon, man. I can talk about reptiles all day. Look at this lad here. He lives in fucking Swansea. The neck on him, man. The fucking neck of you. Tell you something. Look at this. Fucking. He's just around the town, man. Look at that for a neck. I'm not sure. Like, he could be an Australian water monitor lizard. I'm not sure, but we can have a. He's fuck's sake. He's definitely of the monitor lizard variety. I'm having a few. Yeah, he's a monitor lizard. Yeah, I mean, it actually did say it underneath, and he's an Australian monitor lizard. I didn't see that because I was looking at the picture, but all I can say is I know my monitor lizards. Sean, I'm going to get the Irish bulldog on my forehead, like boo. The worst tribal tattoos of the 90s. It's like, okay, what tribe are you in? Exactly, Sean. Like, what tribe are they in? And like you get these hard dudes who just go around with like non-stop. They've just got like, just this weird jagged tribal shite all over them. They're like, why? What does that mean? What does that signify? The tat on the back of his head looks like the front of Charles Bronson's. Am I into NFTs? Nah, mate. I mean, look, I got into crypto, lost a bit of money, and it was all tied up in it. And now I've just got like, I don't know what to do with it. I switched over to Coinbase Pro because Coinbase would just ripping me off on every time I'd make a transaction. Ted Lands, Martin's voice is on an ASMR level, so soothing. Ted Lands, thank you very much for the deep dulcet tones there. It does help in a way. Maybe some people use these streams for going to sleep of a night. I don't know why I'm talking like from Leeds. Barbed wire tribal as well. Actually, gotta say, Uncle J-Bo McNally has a barbed wire tattoo around him, but he was on his tattoo binge back in the 90s, I'd imagine. Also, cousin Lexus has a Fighting Irish tattoo, a Playboy tattoo, as you can see, and an Irish Tasmanian devil. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, no autographs. You brought it up as well. It says Lexus had a fighting leprechaun tattoo. Graham Russell, Chinese writing, Scouse in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, there was one lad who just had it written in Mandarin. Keith's Wine Bar. Lach Lane, mate. The Job Centre, Park Road. Cancer Attitude, how you doing, baby boy? Good to see you. YouTube commenter. Do you prefer an Indian or Chinese takeaway? YouTube commentator, that's a very good question. So much so I will put this up. I would prefer Indian, though Indian takeaways for some reason are a lot more expensive. And considering what an Indian basically, you're talking, it's a glorified stew, and it could be on the pan. Like I don't know if you've ever got like a tikka or a madras or a vindaloo. Sometimes you'll be eating a bit of the meat and it's very dry, and you're like, why is that bit so dry? They just use the same pot and keep adding to it, and that's why a lot of the time the meat is so tender. But it's very cheap to make. You know what I mean? The overheads aren't that dramatic at all. But for some reason, there's this like this weird consensus that Indian food should be like more expensive than Chinese. And I can't remember having a conversation with someone about, I can't remember who it was. You know, you have these chats as you go through life, and yeah, apparently someone told me that Chinese and Indian business people, when it comes to business, they don't get on well. I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna Chinese Indian business. Let's see if someone comes up with this. Why India needs to give some trouble Chinese companies? No, it's not it. Yeah, I heard something like something to do with like the Indian lads were really tight and the Chinese. I can't remember. Someone told me. I can't even. I'm not even going to do it justice. I'm parking it there. Ian McGar says, "I'm trying. Try paying €25 for a pizza that costs 50 cents to make in Domino's." Ian, that is very very true. Pizzas are the cheapest in terms of margins from ingredients, speed of cooking. I mean, they were invented in the Mezzogiorno region of South Italy because of the fact that this is according to Psycho Campbell, my geography teacher. Kosovo, come on, Kosovo. But he was telling me all about the Mezzogiorno region in southern Italy. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Sean. Very much appreciated, my man. Um, yeah, apparently the Romans tried to grow loads of wheat, and what happened was they uprooted all the topsoil that were being held together with undergrowth, and then it just turned into a desert region because of that. Neo says pasta is cheap as fuck to make with two with heavy markups. Oh yeah, like Italian restaurants. Obviously, if you're making your own pasta, which is basically Italian for paste, it's a bit more tricky to do. Pizzas, I mean, like yeah, the thing is with pizzas, you have to make the dough a few days in advance, so therefore you will need a room to store that at a certain temperature. And as I was talking to Eugene Grenier of the Dough Bros Pizza in Galway, which I will say, anyone around Galway do drop into Dough Bros. Apparently, he was voted. He came in number 27th in himself and the lads in the best pizzerias in Europe. So fair play to brother Eugene. But yeah, Italian food, man. It was born out of necessity and then became a luxury, and it's very nice. Apparently, Marco Polo took the pasta from Asia. Shauna Reardon, I'm curious, as Sweden was one of the few countries that did not lock down and use herd immunity to deal with the flu, why the heck would they introduce a program after the fact? Your content, man. Fair play. I don't know. I think it's because if you look at this, right, I'll just show you, right? I'll show you a little something that will, a picture that speaks 1,000 words. And if you go to this, okay, so let me introduce to you Magdalena Andersson, which is the Prime Minister of Sweden. So this little thing here, World Economic Forum, with I mean, here's another thing like that just makes me think, is all of this satanic? Probably, because you've got like the circle intersecting the three circles that make three sixes. If you want me to go on another one, I will be let me see. Fucking CERN. Here's another one. CERN. There's 1 6. There's 1 6. There's another 6. Okay. Google Chrome. 666. Yeah, it's all over the place, man. Do you know what I mean? And okay, here it is. 1992 BSc in Business Administration Economics, Stockholm School of Economics. 94 Institute for Advanced Studies, Vienna. Um, so yeah, this is the new. She's not bad looking, to be fair to her. I'd say she'd be the kind of woman. She'd be like, Oh, thanks for the super chat there, Ted, mate. But she'd be the kind of woman who, you'd be at her house late at night. She's like, "Would you like another glass of? All I have is Heineken and rosé." You're like, "Oh, yeah, man." You like Michael Bolton? I mean, he's cheesy, but he's very romantic. I'm like, yeah, stick a bit of Michael Bolton on, man. He's a madman for the women. And next thing, she'd be like, getting close to you on the couch, and next thing, the hand would be on your knee, and you'd be like, Bon Jovi, "It's my life," and off you go, mate. You know what I mean? Um, have you been seeing any of these pictures? Because on my screen here, all I see is the one image that I saw earlier on. So let me just go back. I mean, maybe I've been talking about all these different. No, it's still there. Um, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm glad. I don't know how this has happened because, hold on, let me get rid of. Yeah, why is that there? Like, I'll fucking get rid of that. Totally get rid of that. That's man. So I've unfortunately I've not been showing you the things and that. You know what I mean? But I'll go to screen share. I will show you this because that's very disappointing. I have to say, Chrome tab. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, let me get a bit closer there. She's all right, man. She's been photoshopped. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like she's working on behalf of the old Klaus Schwab. But yeah, so basically she comes to power, and as you can see there, there's your intersecting lines there. It's all the big fucking weird devil worshipping shit at the end of it, man. Do you know what I mean? That's why they're trying to get rid of Christianity from the society because a lot of truth in there, man. A lot of truth, man. Do you know what I mean? And I won't be look. I'm not pushing any religious vibes on anyone, but you go down enough fucking rabbit warrens, it starts coming back to a bit of that, and it's like whoa. Just a tad small while ago. Thanks very much, Paul Casey. Energy of a lad in Waterford who goes around um, pretending to be Doc Ock in Supermax with 15 years. What does that even mean, Paul? Neo says, "Yeah, I have a shitty THC molecule tat on my body, but I hate legal weed in my country. It's trash. It's like 2 to 4 times the price." Um, Shawnee says she wouldn't get kicked out of bed for eating cookies, that's for sure. But you could well imagine she'd be like, "Look," I was like, "Hey, Magdalena, I thought you were married. Is she married? I don't know." But like, let's say hypothetically she is. She'd be like, "No, look, we're having some problems. He doesn't mind. Look, we have a special arrangement. Like, as long as they don't know about it, like I'm not getting any younger, neither's he. He's older than I am. His balls have been dried up. All his testosterone is gone. He doesn't even." And then she'd be like lifting up the miniskirt, and she's like, just revealing a nice bit of like well-toned thigh and a bit of a suspender, and you're like, "This guy, shit, man." You know what I mean? The next thing, she's like, "You wake the baby." Who knows what happened in a situation like that? But I'm just, G Rose says, "Oh my god." Yeah, look, let's just say I've been in a few situations over the years, takes one to know one. But yeah, but I'd say, it'd be, especially if it was around the Yuletide, and it'd be like chestnuts roasting by an open flame. Can I get you? I've got some black tower. It's not great, but it's like German wine. It's like, "You've got anything stronger?" "I have Martell cognac." I'm like, "Yeah, I've bet that. Yeah, yeah." And yeah, Tommy Schlug said, "Weed in Ireland's an expensive game. Funny thing is about weed in Ireland was after they went from the Euros, not the football, sorry, when they trade over. Hey, Kevin Ball over in Trinidad. Oh, tonight we got Kevin in Trinidad. I want some Tortuga hot sauce, Scotch bonnet, ooh, chicken and pie. Sorry, I don't know what that was about, but it came from the heart anyway. And that Kevin Ian, that's all I'll say. Where did he go, man? There he is. He's how's Trinidad treating you? Graham Russell. I'll tell you a bit about squid, right? Oh no, I'll tell you a bit about the squid, man. The squid propels itself from the backwards. I see this. Yeah, Ian McGar says, I have a house down who grows his own. Stink of it some nights. There was a Chinese place in Swinford, right? That they had the growing operation. It was in the Hardy Books, 2011 when we did that video. I think it was before we did series 2. And Tommy Mahan, I was saying to Tommy Mahan, listen, man, just say there's lads with samurai swords. He's like, just lads with samurai swords up there, so there is. And then we meet Stephen Kelly coming out of the cowboy coming out of the back of the bookie shop. They got totally stung because earlier on in the day, he's like, no, I'm busy. I can't do any filming. And we see him coming out of the bookie shop. And that's why Owen laughs. But yeah, I remember the big freeze was on 2010 or 2011. And I was like, it was freezing, man. It was like maybe minus 15 on a daily basis. And all the other rooftops were covered in snow. But this one place at the top of the town was just smooth, clean slates. And yeah, that was the giveaway. But they found something like half a million bobs worth of sweet kind bud up there. And no autographs say, didn't Cowboy mention they were triad gangs? Oh, I don't know if they were triad gangs or just random pockets of Chinese lads who were just handy with the equipment. And they were like, just let's grow some weed because there seems to be a big demand for it. I think Ireland should just legalize it at this stage. It's everywhere. The police don't care about it. And you can be out in a pub in Ireland and just spark up a joint. No one will say anything to you. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, they would make so much money off it, and there's so many lads who have farmland who could just put a greenhouse up and just start growing chronic. Jackie Chan and the boys, says Graham Russell. As Shawneen says, treat your bud tenders nicely. That was my cousin's house, says Chrissy Perez. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot out there, first of all, the whole, if you're living in a country where it's accepted and it's legal, the experience of having a smoke is so much different because you're not on the back foot when you're having a smoke, so therefore you're in a relaxed state while having it. Secondly, when you have to be forced to buy it off the street, you don't know what you're buying. You don't know what strain it is. You don't know if even the basics. Is it indica or is it sativa? And it's basically like going into a bar that covers up all the labels and says, they're all black labels of handwritten labels saying vodka. You're like, what kind of vodka is that? Don't know. What's this? Brandy. What kind of brandy? Don't know. Beer. What beer? You know what I mean? And if you're a man who loses the plot while on Stella and you think you're drinking Heineken, you trash the gaff, man. Kevin Ball says, yeah, man, they won't legalize nothing they can't control. Same thing here. They waited till everyone else legalized it and then did it themselves. They should have been selling a long time ago. Don't bear thinking about, mate. Don't bear thinking about. Neo says, in my country, the legal places have already been caught using banned pesticides. See, that's the other thing, you know what I mean? Then you'll get pricks like Monsanto who are trying to grow some weird super bud that just, can grow in all conditions and it's got, newt cells in it or bloody parrot beak or whatever, you know what I mean? Just weird shit. Just old school chronicle as God intended. Do you know what I mean? Nice chilled kind bud. Not this fucking crazy super skunk stuff that turns you crazy. It's like the amount of times in the past where I've overlooked it. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? And then it just becomes a complete ordeal. It's like, this isn't even fun. Whereas, if you go to Shawneen O'Riordan, thank you very much for the super chat, kind sir. This is a great little community. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. and you're down to earth. As you mentioned earlier, it's better to have a small, loyal following as opposed to a wider, controlled agenda. Russell Brand is the Pied Piper. Yeah, it seems to me Russell Brand's kind of just got on the train a bit. And as Vladimir Lenin once said, the best way to control the opposition is by leading the opposition. Look, I'm not saying he is or not, man. Maybe he's just one of these lads who has a big platform, and finally the penny dropped, and he's thinking, I should use my voice to to speak out about these ridiculous fucking arbitrary control methods that have been imposed on everybody. It's fuck, man. You know, like I think of this, right? And the truth is, the true thing you got to say is, if it wasn't being on the front page of every newspaper and talked about relentlessly on every news channel, would anyone know it was any different? If it came through, people would be like, "Ooh, I got a bad doing there, man. I was laid out for a week, and yeah, I had a bit of lungs. It was a dry cough." Most people would be like, "Yeah," and unfortunately, the elderly and the infirm would have a really difficult time and maybe pass away with it. And every death is a tragedy. Every individual. Especially as the old saying goes, when an old man dies, a library burns. Or an old woman. It's like every person who has their own individual lived experiences on planet Earth has basically their own story to tell and their own chain of events, and that's those who could be remarked as being dullards or those who would be great minds and thinkers. Everybody has had their own life experience, and the death of an individual is a tragedy. But had it not been spoken about for so long, would anyone have noticed? I don't think so. And yeah, I just think, thank you very much, Tomasova. Tomasova, är du svensk? Härligt. Gott nytt år också. Yeah, but I think, yeah, I think it's up to human beings to make their own measured and responsible decisions. And look, okay, some might say there are a lot of fucking idiots out there. Yes, there are. And I believe personally that some people are so fucking stupid that they are dangerous because they do lack long-term consequential thinking. But at the end of the day, look, when you go out into the world, fucking Bilbo Baggins said, the road can take paraphrasing here, the road can take you anywhere. And the road is right outside your house, and it can take you anywhere. And you can go anywhere in the world now. And with the fact that you are traveling and you take this decision and you go out into the world, there is always going to be a certain level of danger. But if you lived your life with the threat of danger over you the whole time, you wouldn't be living your life. So you have to basically get out there, weigh up the pros and cons, and live your life to the full. And you do no harm, you take no shit, and you try and leave the world in a better place than you found it. And that's it, man. Mic drop. Beyotch. Sean Reardon says, exactly, great point. If people were dropping like flies, it would be a different story. In our own communities, we can scale the impact, and it's nothing compared to what's being reported in the news. Bastard Sprinkler 3000, how are you getting on? Am I right? Look, here's the thing, right? I don't trust any media now. Don't trust them. There's a lot of things that happened before this. And I think this whole thing, right, has been, in the last 2 years, it has been an amazing educational experience, to say the least. Also, you got a lot of people who've, like, Amazon did very well for themselves, Walmart, Tesco's, all these major, Asda. Why is it that the major corporations were allowed to have business as usual, but all your small business, no matter what mitigations or safety precautions they were willing to do, had to close? I mean, it's just been one of the biggest transferals of power the world has ever seen. It's wrong, man. And a lot of people out there, especially soft lads on Reddit, would be like, what's he saying? Oh, he's dangerous. I'll be like, look, mate, grow a pair of balls, ask tough questions, accept the uncomfortable truths that you will find. Stop being a fanny. Do you know what I mean? That's the long and the short of it. And People need to fucking wake up, man. Like when people talk about the world being controlled, and they're like, oh, the Illuminati and all this kind of shit. It's like, listen, there is a bunch of very, very fucking wealthy people that have so much wealth they can do whatever they want. Imagine you've got Bill Gates' amount of money. You can pay for character assassinations on people. You can pay for actual assassinations. Um, and to get that kind of money, I believe you have to be a very fucking single-minded, psychopathic person in many ways, And the fact that people lack that imagination, but they will watch a movie that will have the same plot line and be like, "Oh yeah, that guy's oof." But then in real life, it's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like human beings are fucking complex creatures, man. There are some bad dudes out there, some bad women out there, and some bad individuals who have bad intentions that have bad consequences. G Rose 22 says, I've lost two good friends in November. Suicide. Nobody cares. It's all about the virus. Yeah, it's terrible, man. I was talking to a lad called Peter last week who said 15 people had jumped into the Corrib River in Galway last week. No one's talking about it because they don't care. They don't give a shit, man. And it's really cynical to say it, but like people think these governments all of a sudden who led you through austerity, who bailed out bondholders, who have sold out national institutions to private corporations and global corporations, all of a sudden care about people's well-being. The problem is these fuckers are corrupt. They know they are. They get away with it. But it's the fucking idiots in the middle who believe that the fucking propaganda and the bullshit. They're the ones who are the ones who enable this stuff. They're the fucking enablers. DC, love your accent, half Scouse, half Irish. Yeah, it's a bit of a hybrid, man. In Ireland, they're like, you're fucking English. And in English, like, oi, mate, you Irish. So, what can you do, man? What can you do? Human beings are too complex to be centrally managed, says Sean. Yeah, they are. Like, look, everyone has an agenda. Everybody has different levels of ambition. Everybody has limits in terms of morality and what they're willing to do to get to where they want. And there are people out there who will do anything to get where they want to be by hook or by crook. And that if that means stepping over bodies, so be it. They'll do it. That's it's the way it be. But in all the good news, Kerry Katona is now a millionaire again after being on OnlyFans. So fair play to her. Proud of her. Neo, people have too much trust for authority. Those in power, especially the older generations. Anything a doctor says, trust it without questions. Same with police and politicians. Well, people have been bred to be that way now. Do you know what I mean? It's actually in we have been fortunate enough in the West to live through nearly 80 years of peacetime, and there's a lot of people out there who are, there's a lot of radical chat going around. People who are like, yeah, we should, like whether it's people going, the blood of the tree of liberty needs to be watered by the blood of tyrants and patriots, and then you got like all the fucking idiots who are going around with like waving hammer and sickles talking about the benefits of global communism. All these fucking people are deluded, man, because they think that right. It's easy to be writing all this fucking hard ass shit when you're lying on your couch on a fucking device that's been made by slaves in the Far East. But like, when you look at the horrors of the 20th century, man, like from what I've read from memoirs and watching videos on YouTube, is that, man, we should be feeling blessed that we live in peacetime. Like we should be blessed that I don't know who this guy was, man. I think it's Polish general who quote. Let me see what he said. No, can't find it. Well, basically, in a nutshell, it's the worst day in peace is better than the best day in war. So that's the crack. Ian McGarr says, my doctor is a moron. He asked if I was imagining the ringing in my ears from tinnitus. I'll tell you a story, right? I won't mention any names. A couple of years ago, I had a sebaceous cyst on my head. Really annoying. My mate Danny Riley put his hand on my head and went, "Oh, you bumpy-headed bastard," in front of a load of people at a house party. And I was like, "Oh," felt like Quasimodo. I was like, "Oh, the bells, the bells." Oh. And so I went to the doctor. She took out a fishing hook in one afternoon. And I was like, yeah, she's a good doctor. She can go and do a simple outpatient procedure. So I went into her and I said, it took me 3 days to get FaceTime with her. I had to go into her 3 times. Got up in front of her, and she pulls the computer and shows me a Wikipedia article. She goes, "It's very fascinating. It's a dermoid cyst." And I'm like, I know. I've looked it up myself. I've used the power of deduction to figure out that it was indeed a dermoid cyst. So I was like, "Well, doctor, look, here's the scar. Like, I'd like if you could remove it, please." And then she was like, "Well, I could do this, but I could, but if you were to say to me, well, look, Martin, if I could say this to you, maybe now you'd be happy about that. In a few years' time, you might look back at your head and there's a scar there, and you go, well, she was a great doctor, but now I've got a scar on my head. I should refer you to a plastic specialist in Galway." I was like, I just want you to take the. Do you think this is a vanity issue, Martin? Do you? And I went, yes. I think there is somewhat an element of vanity being an actor and a performer. Yeah, I think so. And she goes, "Martin, I'm going to crazy church, when I ask you this question, but if that cyst could talk, what do you think it would say to you?" And I said, "It would say, get me off this rock." So she referred me to a doctor. 6 months I was on the waiting list to go to Castlebar to get this thing whipped out. Came to Sweden, rang up this private place on the Thursday, had the appointment on the Monday, went in 8:30, sat down, took it out, stitched it up, sent it off to a lab for analysis, in and out, 15 minutes, 30 quid. Why can't Ireland, have that same level of efficiency when it comes to healthcare, man? Let's see in your comments. G Rose 22. My good friend Mitch could have been a Hardy Book. He was the funniest guy I ever met. He had something special. If that was your mate Mitch who passed away, I'm very sorry to hear that. Love, I really am. MJ Michael Jackson. How'd you get so good at talking about general stuff? Do you read a lot? I struggle to talk about stuff at length. Maybe I'm just at a low. You're a low frequency fool. Hey. To be honest, I spend a foolish amount of time just reading and watching things. I've always been curious about the world around me, and 2 years ago I wouldn't have had the confidence to come and do a live stream like this. It's and even still, if I haven't done a stream for a couple of weeks, I start feeling hesitant about coming on. I'm like, oh, I'm a bit, there's a bit of stage fright, but yeah, I mean, I think my brain is like probably not the greatest if it's not like when it comes to like intense problem solving or like, I think if you consider it like a computer, it's probably like an 8 gig RAM with a 4 terabyte hard drive. There's a lot of information stored up here, but when it comes to like doing stressful tasks at the time, I find it quite stressful. So work memory versus memory. I've got a lot of stuff up here. Oil on the road says, is salmon really the stig? Fucking is, man. You want to see that lad do handbrakes and fucking micras in car parks? Exposure therapy, says Shawnee. The John Guay, big fan, my man. Hope all is well. Thank you very much, John, mate. Outlaw Bob, Tyler Schuler says, Martin, there is a really good book called Bloodlines of the Illuminati, written by Fritz Springmeier. You should check it out. Ties in with the old religion, as practitioners used to call it. Well, who knows, man? I mean, you keep it in the family if you've got the wedge. You don't want fucking Katie Price types coming along and then just taking your fucking family's dynasty. I think a lot of these royals and banking elites and who else, they're not just going to let anybody, like the Medicis of Italy or, I mean, this probably does go way back, and it was a practice. Like, look at if you had built up an empire, you passed it on to your son and your grandson or whoever was in next in line, you would be, you wouldn't want them to piss it away. And they say it takes 3 generations of tradespeople to have that in their DNA, and it's the third generation can make it or break it. But like, yeah, I mean, if you you did, if you were tasked with keeping this family tradition going, you would want your children to marry into someone who was of good stock. And when I say good stock, I don't necessarily mean people with good moral principles, but people who know how to behave in public, how to talk the talk, and how to be Machiavellian and maintain what the family have. And it stands to reason that, yeah, there probably is an element of high society that are blue bloods. But if you cut me, I bleed green, man. I'm a Irish. Bradley Clancy says, Maxwell, what do you think about Maxwell? That's a good question, man. It's a good question. I think she's gone down, but I don't trust the judge who's handled the case, because there was a lot of details of that court case that have been sealed permanently. The black book, the dozens and dozens of big names that have been involved in this, what looked like a fucking an entrapment ring, used, as far as my understanding is, it's probably a bit of both. It's probably like they had mates in high society who granted them favors. I think they probably invited people who had a penchant for deviancy to come along and be like, "Hey, I got a beautiful girl, man. You like massages? Yeah, go in there, have a massage." And yeah, they recorded them. The next thing was like, hey, pastor, that mega church you got there in Texas, you got a lot of money going through there. Hey, that's non-taxable. Some friends of mine are gonna give me some money to put through your church, and you're gonna put the money back, and we'll say no more on the issue. We don't want any money from you, but you're gonna be putting some money through your accounts. I think that's a lot of it as well. And apparently, Epstein was quoted saying that Prince Andrew was his Super Bowl trophy. I think he was a front man anyway. Um, there's a great question. Scott Johnson says, "Can Prince Andrew sweat?" Well, yeah, he can now, because he was such a war hero fighting Argentinian kids in the Falklands, and he saw some crazy stuff, and his sweat glands malfunctioned for a good few years. And at the time when he met Virginia Roberts, he couldn't sweat, but he's been through like probably acupuncture or something to make sure his sweat glands have been reactivated. So that's what he says, but I wouldn't fucking put money on it. Jur, off the Irish podcast, man. If you want to join the chat, man, hop in here. Hey, oh no, that's my album. Anyone who hasn't heard the EP, please get that link. Martin Maloney EP. Please listen to it. Please listen to it. Spread the word. Okay, let me see. G Rose says, I'm Normandy Irish. We have to give a lot of wealth to Ireland as payback. Yeah, Normandy Irish, that's very interesting. If you look at the flight of the Earls and how there's a lot of Celts that would have ended up in Normandy and in Saint Michel and Roscoff and places like that. And I think they do have the Celtic Festival down there as well. And I think the Basque country as well in Spain has a lot of Celts. Saying that the Celts also were prolific in terms of they were from the Iberian Peninsula all the way to Germany and what is now Czech Republic, eastwards. And then they were right on the borders. They were fighting against the Roman Empire quite a lot as well. Bradley Clancy, ha ha ha! Oh my God, delighted you came on tonight. Good to see you, Bradley lad. Good to see you. A judge let those cops off for watching Epstein too recently. Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, a lot of weird shit went on there, and Maxwell had to take the fall. Now, whether they say she's in Thug Mansion and she gets a bit of a off you go out the back door, no, we'll just say you're still there. Hey, put a body double in there and just rotate the body doubles, give them She'll probably have like body doubles who are like paid to look like her, and there's a few of them in operation, and they all just, they work in shifts. Who knows? Like, who knows? Let's see. In before she didn't kill herself. Ian McGar, I find traits fascinating. I've nothing in common with my dad, but everything. My uncle, I play music like him. I'm a lot like him in attitude and ambition. Well, apparently, I was told I look the double of my uncle Kevin, which I do. Yeah, you do. You like I see in my kids traits of my cousins, and you'll see like a little smile or a mannerism that that definitely is passed through genetically, um, which is apparently it's easier or it's actually healthier for first cousins to marry than it is second cousins, because apparently there is the jump. There's like the skipping of one generation. I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't recommend marrying your cousins. Like, you know what I mean? Not great for the gene pool. All right, thank you very much, Sean, for the other super chat I played to you. If the billions and billions spent on were instead spent on hospital infrastructure, and staffing globally, would we need it in the first place? More ICUs and staff to look after the vulnerable. Well, I mean, that's a very, very good point, mate. It's there is a lot to be said for plenty of rest. There is a lot to be um healthy eating, exercise, and basically having, maintaining a healthy life. You know what I mean? It's like these are all prophylactic, preventative measures. Like in America, so many people are fucking hooked on pharmaceutical drugs. I mean, and then you got the whole oxycontin thing as well. It's fucking crazy, man. Like that, what the Sackler family have done and got away with. Like they've made millions off. It's mad, right? Because if you were to see, if someone was to be like, if someone was to come out of a car, shoot 10 people in cold blood, it'd be all over the news. But if you've slowly killed 50,000 people in a nightmare of attrition through addiction, I don't understand where the fucking outrage is, man. It's like people do, it's like most people just don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and I suppose you can't really, because if you gave a shit about everything, you'd lose your mind. But it's like the death of a thousand cuts. Like people can be dying in droves, and it's a very difficult thing to measure over time. But man, you got people who in the States who would they'd fall over, or they'd be in a car crash, and they'd end up like with a broken foot, and then they put on oxycontin, and then even after like a week, the withdrawals are insane, so they had to be weaned off the stuff. It's fentanyl. Yeah, Justin Scroll says fentanyl is now the number one killer of people in 18 to 45 in the States. It's ridiculous. Like the States, it's done, man. And I think the States, they've been chipping away at destroying the States, because in many ways, the United States and the Constitution of the States was based around liberty. You know what I mean? Look, there's a lot of shit that went down in the States that wasn't right. But at its core essence, the Constitution in its modern day phase, much like the Magna Carta in England, is geared around personal liberty and self accountability. And if you look at the World Economic Forum's predictions for 2030, which I will read now, actually, WEF 2030 predictions. Okay, maybe we can watch this actually. Okay, here's 8 predictions. We can watch this. We will watch this now and tell me what you think of the world. Okay. Oh, it's on Facebook, is it? Okay. I don't know if you can hear this, but we will see what they say. Whatever you want, you will rent. It will be by drone. The US will be... What is that? A handful of countries will dominate. So they're taking the US, right? You won't die waiting for an organ donor. There'll be plenty fucking bodies. We won't transplant organs, we print new ones instead. You will eat much less meat. An occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health.
But they'll be eating meat.
A billion people will be displaced by climate change. We'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. There will be a global price on carbon. This will help fossil fuels industry. You could be preparing to go to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. I am Quaid. Cohagen.
So we'll be going to fucking space by 2030, will we?
Western values will have been tested to breaking point. Checks and balances that underpin our democracies must not be forgotten.
Right, okay. So there's that, right? Okay, so look, there's a lot of idealistic things there, right? One thing about let me like there's something I've spoken. It's a very contentious issue. Anytime you bring up refugees and displacement, you kind of think, why? Like, okay, you got the likes of Bill Gates, right? And he's this fucking billionaire who apparently has given all his money to charity. Like all these countries, these nations in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, South America, they do they not have really smart people? Do you know what I mean? As in people who are capable of, you know, because it seems as a lot of these nations get propped up by imperialist fucking powers that just say, look, we're going to put our man in. He's gonna have a nice touch on your lithium, your copper, your oil, your steel, your gold. We're gonna have that, and he's gonna get paid, and we're gonna give you a couple of bags of rice. Like instead of just, I mean, I always had this naive approach. Like I'd often sit there, like as a kid and growing up in later life, going, okay, it seems like one big factor, let's say, with North Africa and the Middle East is the lack of drinking water. So I'd always be thinking, well, how can you have ways of getting water for irrigation? So I mean, if you can re-irrigate arid regions, then you can grow more crops, and if you grow more crops, you can feed your population, and then you can trade. And there must be technology to do this. And then you had Gaddafi, who was going to do this thing, which was called the eighth wonder of the world, which was he was going to take the spill that was going from the Nile River into the Nile Delta, and that's just water gone. Comes from Lake Victoria, if I'm not mistaken. It goes all the way down with all the tributary rivers. Yeah, they just fucking took him out and blown up his eighth wonder of the world. But imagine if Gaddafi had have succeeded, started irrigating these lands, cultivating plant life, and then pumping that water to other parts of Africa. But no, they fucking bombed him, and now and I remember the Guardian and all these newspapers and those wankers in the Sun. Our boys took out this propaganda shite for thick cunts, and yeah, they fucking bombed Tripoli, even though he was one of the most progressive leaders in Africa. He wanted to bring the gold diner to Africa, which would have been a gold-backed currency. So these same people who seem to care about people in developing countries, they've been keeping these countries down, man. Do you know what I mean? They like this is why people like me aren't in power, because we get there and we're like, well, hang on a minute, why isn't you just the simple solution to this? Why don't you give these lads this agricultural equipment, or why don't you try and pipe in water? I don't know. I would probably try and come up with a good solution, and it'd be like, look, Martin, there's a reason we don't do this, and shut up. And I'd say that's what would happen. Bradley Clancy says USA are such terrorists. People of USA, by and large, are really good people, and it's sad to see a country that was on such a good kind of things in the 80s and 90s, and up until like 10 years ago, it was pretty chill. But it seems that everyone's been pitted against each other. But there is rogue elements that Kennedy spoke about. You know, it's like we don't fight armies by day, we fight guerrillas by night. You know, and yeah, you know, basically, yeah, they took him out, man. And you know, let me see. Let me read you this Kennedy quote. Kennedy, armies by night, armies by day. Yeah, I think it was days afterwards he was bumped right off. Okay, I just need the scaled down version of this. In the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, 27th of April, 61. When was he assassinated? Was it the wife who did it? Someone was telling me that the other day. 63. Okay, so it was a good while. So when someone said it was a few days, no, it wasn't. Okay, so he says this. Mr. Chairman and ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much your generous invitation to be here tonight. You bear heavy responsibilities these days, and an article I read some time ago reminded me how particularly heavily in the burdens of present day events bear upon your profession. So where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Let me see. Let me see. Nevertheless, my purpose here tonight is not to deliver the usual assault on so-called one-party press. On the contrary, in recent months, I have rarely heard any complaints about political bias in the press. See, it was the same shit back then, except from a few Republicans. Nor is my purpose tonight to discuss or defend the televising of presidential press conferences. I think it's highly beneficial to have some 20 million Americans regularly sit in on these conferences to observe, if I may say so, the incisive, the intelligent, and the courteous qualities displayed by your Washington correspondents. Let me see, where is this? Where is this? Yeah, here we go. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we as a people inherently and historically are opposed to these secret societies, to secret oaths, to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which we are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation, and our traditions do not survive with it. And there is a very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not to permit it to the extent that is in my control. So, in a nutshell, that was the military military industrialization complex that was it Woodrow, not Woodrow Wilson. He was the fucking idiot who ratified the Federal Reserve and getting into World War One, but it was I think it was Truman, Harry Truman, who warned against. Let me see, Harry Truman. Warning. I think it was Truman. In the Council of Government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought by the military industrial complex, for the potential of the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. So yeah, you basically got Kennedy, who then came on later on. And it says here, but I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril in time of war. The government and the press have customarily joined in an effort based largely on self-discipline to prevent unauthorized disclosures to the enemy in time of clear and present danger. The courts have held that even in privileged rights of the First Amendment must yield to public's needs. Look, I can go in for a good while on this because it's a long speech, but you can read this if you want. Let's see. Thanks again for the chat there. It's very kindly shown. Refugees. It's amazing how Israel, Jordan, or Saudi Arabia never seem to inherit the refugees, yet they end up in Ireland. I'm all for controlled immigration, not any dude coming in without checks. Well, look, here's the thing, right? From a military strategic point of view, bringing in, it's just simple economics, man. And like you'll have these fucking wankers who will put derogatory labels on people who have they come from a place of love. It's like most of these people don't want to fucking be here, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a whole load of lads from Somalia who are like stuck up in the north of Sweden. It's like living by a fucking lake. I wouldn't want to be up there myself. You know what I mean? It's like, but for some reason, these are conversations that are forbidden. It's like I don't give a fuck who someone is, what religion they are, what nationality or race they are. If they're fucking sound, they're sound. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. And so but basically, I think a lot of these people are victims of globalization used as pawns to further destabilize other parts. Like they like these fuckers, like Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. They just want to destroy. They basically. It was never about bringing up. Like I naively always thought, it's about bringing up the poorer nations to a standard that the West has enjoyed. But it's not, man. It's about just basically bringing everyone down to the same standard. So there'll be a ruling class, and everyone else will just fucking live in poverty. Outlaw Barber says JFK got taken out by the central banking families after his speech. Him and Abraham Lincoln were the only presidents that printed money outside the system. Didn't they try and do an assassination attempt on Jackson as well? Yeah, I mean, like the more you look into it, the more you're like, there's no like for America's case, they have absolutely no business being outside. Graham Russell, good night, La. Thank you very much there, Graham, mate. God bless you. Happy New Year. But the fact of the matter is this: America, the United States, shouldn't, like, according to the Constitution, it was about having an army to defend against domestic and foreign enemies, right? And to be able to assemble a militia. But having fucking military bases all around the world, and there's the argument to say, well, if it wasn't them, it'd be someone else. So now what you have is the rise of China, and the likes of Henry Kissinger, who basically fucking went after Mao Zedong died, and then started doing business deals which impoverished the working class of America. So like you have these huge sections of the country and in England as well, like like it's just fucking big business, man. And yeah, it's like if you take like a lot of these towns in the Midwest America, they'd have a factory. You'd leave school, you go to the factory. One parent could work in the factory, the other parent could stay at home and raise the kids. And all that's gone now. So what's filled the void? Fentanyl and being addicted to fucking drugs and shit. You know what I mean? And if you start taking a person's purpose away, much like what's happened over the last 2 years, you're gonna get, if people don't feel like they have a purpose, or that they don't have a reason to live, then they'll find pleasures elsewhere, and those pleasures will basically lead to their consumption of the host. It's like the Metallica Master of Puppet song. Can't even remember the lyrics. Master of Puppet's gonna blow your beans. So sometimes I do get a bit heavy on the stream, but look, man, I come from a place of love. I've got a good heart, and I think there's a lot of people out there who, well, there's probably not, man. There's a lot of what I would like to say. A lot of what I say is basically sense, and from reading into this kind of stuff, and just and being objective. Like, objectivity is the key. Be objective. Like when you see when you look at like how the States is. I was watching Channel 5 News, and what I really like about his reporting style is he'll let people fucking talk. And if he's in an event where there's two people or two crowds that have fundamentally different views, he'll let them both speak. And I think the problem is people aren't willing to fucking speak to each other and have a dialogue. Do you know what I mean? Justin Scrow says, Ian McGraw says, my purpose and reason has been taken. Look, man, for a lot of people, like, look at me. Like, I had plans to tour the States and start meeting new fans in States, Canada, Australia. That was all taken, and yeah, like my whole all my eggs were in the entertainment basket. Like, it really fucked me. But it was kind of nice to be able to not have to be on the road all the time as well. But sometimes you just miss being on the road and meeting new people and having good times with your mates. And Justin Scrow says, I'm in Midwest America, just out of Detroit. OCP. Ed 219. No, sorry about it. I just kept going on to a RoboCop vibe there. South of Detroit, I just have a speech on the positive economic impact of growing legal marijuana shops and grow-ups in our town. 500 mil in 2020, 2.5 bill by 2025. Well done. Yeah, why not, man? Also, Detroit has like Flint, Michigan. You're talking about a whole city there that have been exposed to lead poisoning because of the water quality is so bad. Like, man, you talk like these would have been like Michigan. That's a prime example of where General Motors and the American automotive, like Detroit Motown. You go through like parts of like Trenton and New Jersey and places like that, and you look and you see these old accolades and relics of prosperity, and it's just fallen into disrepair and decay. You look at England. England had mining towns. It had steel mills. It's fucking gone, man. You're like, you take people's purpose away, and there's nothing left. You know what I mean? It's like people people will lose respect for themselves, and and the only like anyone who just has the ambition gets out, and then so communities lose their best minds, and then you've got people who just fucking stuck on this like never ending carousel, and people who just exist. It's fucking strange, lads. Fucking strange. G Rose 22. You speak out against shadow organizations like the Kennedys. You are watched and waited on lifelong. Same goes for anybody who speaks the truth. But look, here's what I believe, right? And this might be the soul is eternal. So if you speak your truth here on earth, you'll be rewarded elsewhere. Like look at Assange. That lad has been punished for revealing state crimes. Like he wasn't jailed because he was revealing state truths, state crimes, and the people who were participating in those crimes are still free today. And yeah, it's fucking crazy. Mark Short, Howie Martin just finished watching Dope Sick, 10 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, a drama about Big Pharma and the opioid crisis. Hope you're keeping well, fella. Good to see you, Mark. Happy New Year to you, mate. Malthusian catastrophes aren't very realistic. What the fuck's a Malthusian catastrophe? That's one for me. I need to check that out. Thoughts on bean cheese pasta? Is that some fucking Pizzagate shit? Bean cheese pasta. If this is like a culinary dish. Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, like you've got this pasta over here, which is made with beans. It's got weird texture because it's all protein, so you can actually get your protein and beans and like pasta, but it's not for everyone. Brown rice pasta by Dove's Farm. It's fucking great stuff. Jay Bowler, one of the only real boys still out there, Martin. Keep spreading the good word. Thanks very much, Jay. Appreciate that. Dope Sick is fucking savage. Michael Keaton is so good. I'm gonna have to check out Dope Sick. Yeah, I'll check it out. But it's out there, and the people who fucking profited off death and misery still out there. They're still walking around free, going to Aspen on skiing trips, driving sweet motors, having the finest of wine in their chateaus and their mansions, and they don't give a fuck because they're above the law. And the law is it's not on the side of the average citizens. I think most of our governments are middle management for the likes of these fucking Schwab in the World Economic Forum, and yeah, and I knew there was going to be some sort of fucking crash because they were saying it had to, the way inflation was getting out of control. And maybe this whole look, you don't know what the meetings are at these Bilderberg meetings. You're a conventional layman, might like I keep saying, they'll listen to me and be like, he's a fucking nut job, man. He's got a fucking foil hat on. But it's like I said, it's human beings getting together. Like I've had heated discussions with people in pubs about this. And as Ollie Reid said to Clive James when he said, Ollie, why do you drink? And he goes, well, I believe some of the finest people I've met in my life have been in pubs. Not fucking wrong, man. Not fucking wrong. Any more Hardy books this year? Don't know. 91 Vance, mate. Don't think so. Ian McGar, I live in a small town. Everywhere is closed down. No jobs, no places to rent unless you're loaded. Stuck in a loop with no sign or target around. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, it all comes down to money. If you have enough money, then you can put your time and energy into it. If you don't have any money, you're gonna have to get a loan, or else you're gonna have to save for it. And if you get a loan, then you're in the bank's pocket, and you're gonna have to work your bollocks off, get taxed on that. Like, I mean, like I've looked into having a business here in Sweden. It's just like if you do a job for someone freelance, and let's say it's like $2,000, then you'll have to invoice them for $5,000 in order for you to get that $2,000. You know what I mean? And it's like, where's all the cash going, man? The Rust Belt, Sean. Yeah, like the Rust Belt. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's like towns like Virginia, or in towns in Virginia and places like this that were just, you know, they were like the powerhouse of the states. They've New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. You know what I mean? What's the crack with those boys up in Wisconsin? Hey, Justin Scroll. I moved here from Chicago 5 years ago. It was like moving back to the 1980s. Hey, Justin, that's in Ireland, is it? There's no steel mills, etc. There's no steel mills with the T1000 fighting Arnie. Bruce Campbell. Mark Shortall, do you gind there's a constant smell of burning rubber everywhere? Do you find there's a constant burning smell of rubber everywhere in America? That's the wheels of freedom moving along Love's Highway. Small town lords turn soft, says Scott Johnson. Small town lads turn soft. Neo, keep the prices the same, but it costs the companies way less labor laws and lower wages. All about money. Yeah, automation is another fucking one as well. It's like you can build a robot, put it into a factory, and all you need is someone just to kind of service the machines. And after a while, you probably have other robots doing the servicing work. It's like, I think, people's main job in the West now is just to consume. You look at people who lose their fucking shit fighting over bloody flat screen TVs. I mean, like, wintertime in the city, it's fucking boring. You know what I mean? You're in an apartment most of the day. It's cold, it's dark, and slippery outside. So you just spend a lot of time in a slab in an area. And then you're like, well, what's there to do? Watch a film, watch YouTube, read a book, play some guitar. It's all basically very sedimentary. Like I need to, the New Year's resolution is to get back into training. Just haven't really been asked lately. The handbrake was off, but I want to get back into being fit. But like a lot of stuff is just sitting around watching various different screens. Do your fucking head in, man. All the blue light. Look up world's population predictions for 2025. Scary stuff, man. Let me have a look at this. World populations. 8,184,000. 8,184,437,460. Geez, that was an accurate prediction. We'll see. We'll see about that. Sometimes I'm like, is there this many people on? Like, you know what I mean? When people say, "Oh, there's that many people in the world," I'm like, how do I know that? Like, I mean, have you seen that many people? You know what I mean? It's like there's been a lot of things lately. I'm like, well, this is just what someone's told me. But it's like I remember being really freaked out as a kid watching a TV commercial. I can't remember what it was for, but they said if you took every human being in the world, they would fit on the Isle of Wight. And I was like, is that it? You know what I mean? It's like, bearing in mind, yeah, like human beings do take up a lot of space, but man, it's fucking shitloads of. Like if you look at Russia, the size of Russia, like it's massive. Look at Canada, the landmass there, it's huge. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I think a lot of these policies are about getting people into like mega cities, and it's about freeing up the countryside where the likes of Bill Gates is just buying up. I think let me see this Gates land ownership. Hold, yeah, let me see. How much? How much? How much land? Okay, the Microsoft co-founder and philanthropist Bill Gates owns 242,000 acres of farmland in the US, making him the largest private farmland owner in the world. Yeah, I mean, look at it like that, right? He's got all this farmland. What's he growing on there? You know what I mean? That's not good for your small for anyone who's competing. Double Quack Junior B, Dublin's being sold to property developers and hedge funds. The culture is being yeah, it's been destroyed, man. Like you've got houses that belong to the birthplace of lads who were born and raised in Dublin that took part in the 1916 uprising. I was talking to Gavigan today. He was telling me that there was some. I mean, what kind of wankers are these? They wanted to take away the arch, which is a significant landmark by the Halfpenny Bridge in Dublin, to build another fucking hotel. How many hotels does Dublin need, man? Like it's almost as if the housing crisis, which has pushed young families into the hotels that are then subsidized by the state, it's almost like it's a fulfilling wheel. I mean, like just build fucking apartments and plenty of them, and give these people fucking work that they want to be doing. Bachelors versus Heinz. Want to weigh in? Hey, Heinz tomato soup is good stuff. That's all I'll say. Neo, what's the broken record? Is it me saying the same thing, or is there someone else here in the chat saying it? Martin, how did you pick up the Irish accent on Hardy Books? Did it take time? Just picked it up off the boys. Great actor, by the way. Thanks very much. No, I was always, like obviously my parents are from Swinford, so I would always be doing impressions of my dad, and it's just like I was always good at doing impressions. But there was sometimes I was like, how do you say that? But same with the Viper, man. He does a brilliant job as well. The Shield of Ballycastle. It's a fucking cagey fields, Ballycastle, is it? Oh, you dirking, you legend, he says. Books off Netflix in January 10th. Any clue where it'll be available for us in stateside to stream? Sorry for bothering the conversation. Yeah, look, like I said, someone's uploaded them all to YouTube, so you can watch it there. Hey, Ian McGarr. Then you've people. Money doesn't buy happiness. Oh, you know what? I think in like I'm not a rich man at all. Do you know what I mean? But I'm rich in community. I'm rich in people, which a lot of these people who are rich in money don't know about. You know, I spend most of the time fucking glued to a bloody screen looking at pie charts and graphs. And you know, you got these lads who are working in banks. They have these trophy wives, big wedding ring, and the trophy wives are banging the pool boy because they're just so fucking dull. You know, this is from anecdotal accounts. And yeah, you know, like some of these people, you know, I don't know, world is fucked. But yeah, it's like sometimes, you know, I'd say, imagine, I often think the richest I felt was in Gran Turismo 2, where you get the TVR Tuscan Speed 12, and then you sell that and you keep winning it after every race, and then you can buy any car you like and do it up. And then, yeah, it was like that feeling of being absolutely loaded, but in an artificial sense. And then at that stage, the crack was gone because you could do anything you wanted. And I think it's like you know, you hear about a lot of people who win the lottery and their lives are ruined afterwards. It's like they, you know, they fall out with family members, and then you got these fucking professional beggars who are like, I believe you have won the lottery. I need money for this, and it's just like, That, like, winning the lottery must be even weirder. I mean, it's like you haven't even earned it. So like you're now in this, you can imagine if you're like then hanging out in country clubs with like old money and they're like, how did you make your money? It's like, well, I won it in the lottery. And I'm like, okay. It's just like, there's more chance of you making your own money than there is winning the lottery. Justin Scrow was a big fan of serious science fiction. It is really hard watching everything that was written about the decline of the world come true, like Black Mirror and the likes. Yeah, fair enough. Go back and watch Aliens special edition, 17 minutes of extra aliens. Can't go wrong with Predator either. I mean, like the early days of Predator and Aliens, man. And what a time to be alive. It would be like listening to like rock and roll in the 60s for the first time. I started HIIT today. Terrible so far, but glad to be back at it. Was high intensity training, is it? Intermittent. It's hard to believe Idiocracy was the right horse to be on. Yeah, it is, man. It really is. Christ, that's a reference to Stand On. Zanzibar, an excellent novel. We can't stand on white anymore. Now it's Zanzibar. Madagascar is next. Oi, oi, oi. That's a good while ago. That was like 95. I think I saw that. Bill Gates wants to recreate that fake meat shite for all the vegans. Look, I mean, I don't like the idea of having to kill animals, and some people will be like, what are you on about? Fucking, what are you, I mean, it's like, I think meat production is fucking heinous, man. I think, traditional hunter gatherers would have had more respect for the animal that they killed. It's like, especially in more kind of frontier places, like it just feels like, I mean, just the simple act of making dinner is so much easier these days. You go down to a supermarket, the animal's been cleaned and butchered and slaughtered, packaged, cut to a very convenient slice. If you like, imagine if you were living in, let's say you crashed a plane and you were stuck in the wilderness. First thing you got to do is find warmth, shelter, water, and then you got to find food. I mean, depending on how long you're spending out there in the wilderness, you've got to find something that's edible and in abundance, and then you gotta start cultivating crops. Crops take fucking months to grow, and then there's the like, it's funny when you read. I still haven't put up the audiobook, but I got into basically talking about Buzz McDonald's ancestor was the guy who started the first Irish bar, and I realized some of the dates were out of whack, and I had to go and research it and whatnot. It fucking took ages. But you listen to like the people who first started colonizing, like Jonestown in Virginia or Plymouth Colony. Well, like half of them died in the first year of being there, like cholera, typhus, pneumonia, starvation, and yeah, like we have, like, basically I look at everything in the West and we have it just so easily. You go down to a McDonald's, you get fucking a nice warm hamburger, and that gives you the sustenance to survive until the next day. And it's like you can buy microwave meals that you put in a microwave, like 7 minutes later you have a nutritional meal, give or take, and yeah. So back to the idea of mass slaughter of cattle. Like animals have feelings too. They're sentient creatures, and it's sad that they have to suffer in a weird sanitized, soulless, fucking, what's the name of it, like a kill shoot, and if there was a way of making meat that had the exact same nutritional value without any weird side effects, I'd eat it. I'd be fucking made up with that, because it'd be like guilt free. But a lot of people would disagree with me on that, and that's fine. Let people disagree with that. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does get you a lot of rim jobs. You got that one right, Shawnee. That's going up. What greater, the potato famine or the great 2007 Castletown hash shortage? I think the potato famine just about got there, man. Just about. Over the rim job, says Neo. You're actually a legend for not losing it with the amount of people who ask you about Hardy books. Must be annoying when it's your baby. You can't see. I'll put this up. But at least you understand how special it is. yeah, I'm just used to it, man. You know what I mean? And I love the way that so many people have really gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it, and that it's brought. It was created through that, because we didn't have, we had Channel 4 and BBC Two and that kind of stuff growing up. But in terms of RTE, it's always the same people doing the same thing. Like mediocre shit, you know what I mean? Like, I can't abide by mediocrity. I know my production value here on these streams isn't, it's not like high tech, and people are probably like, oh, I can't be all sitting through fucking 3 hours of him waffling about the same shit all the time. But I like to think it was like, campside, fireside chats, you know what I mean? Where we're like, it's the kind of thing that you talk about if you're with your mates. And, a lot of the time I'm thinking, fuck, did I talk too much about this certain subject? And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, should I put that video into private? And I'm like, no, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it was like 2 streams ago. I was like, oh, fuck, I got too spicy. And I was listening back to it. I was like, sometimes you're like, you get a bit objective about watching yourself. I'm like, I agree with what that lad said. I'm like, that's me. It's like, oh, fuck. Other people are going to strongly disagree. But I'm like, look, man, at the core of it, I'm a good dude with good intentions. And I just want to see the world that we live in. I just want to see a place where everyone gets a fucking equal crack of the whip, and it's sound, and people get on, stop fighting over bollocks, And like that Polish general said, the worst day of peacetime is better than the best day of wartime. Like, if the fucking wheels of war start turning, you're a fucking commodity. You're expendable, and under orders you have to hold the line, and if need be kill and be killed, and live on fucking rations, and it's like, this has happened time and time again throughout history, and we need to fucking fight in order to keep the peace, because a lot of these people who fucking would so easily throw peace away for war, before they would know it, they'd be in a world of shit, man. And you don't want that to happen. Ted Land says, so very true words. Hunter-gatherers have more respect for the animal they killed. Yeah, they did. There was, like the Native Americans would have I don't know if this is true or not, but there'd be like a ceremony, like a thanksgiving to the animal that was slain. G Rose got venison as a gift this year. Yeah, I mean, like, venison. Like, I remember I was out with a friend of mine. He was there was a deer across the road, and he was like, I have my rifle. I can shoot him now. You want to shoot him? I'm like, nah, leave him. He's all right, man. Oh, I have a 308. I can shoot him right now. I go get the gun. I'm like, just leave him. He's sound. Just let him fucking live, man. How are things in Sweden? Do you think the Swedish economy will do this year? It'll be sound, man. It'll be grand. Jonestown. Is that what you're saying, Sean? Hunters are very humane in Michigan. I'd rather be a deer that's in its element than a cow in a beef factory living in a cage its whole life. Yeah, well, pigs, man. Pigs, like Spanish pigs, fucking taste great, but the poor fuckers. I remember seeing like this cook it, kill it, eat it thing on BBC 3 years ago, and it was just like these baby piglets, and they were just like taking them out, just like stabbing them, and then just throwing them straight into a big skip. There was fucking blood everywhere. It was awful. And they brought this guy who works in an abattoir in Spain and his guests are like, yeah, it's just cruel. And the guy's like, it's food. It's just food. Why do you care? It's food. And it's funny because that was his worldview. It's like he's so desensitized by it. It's like, yeah, they were bred for food, and the other people are really horrified. And they brought a calf in, slaughtered the calf, and then killed it and ate it in the studio. And it's amazing how everyone before the slaughter was like, oh, this is fucked up, man. But then when it was cooked, a nice bit of like rosemary, cracked pepper, sea salt flakes, bit of garlic. They were like, they all came down and they had a taste. Mick Alistair, Happy New Year, pal. Cheers. Good on you, Mick. Just scroll. Agreed on the legend status. Always a patience prince with my questions. A patience prince. As a failure, it's gotta be nice to be known for something you worked so hard on. Look, man, don't write yourself off. You're a legend in your own right, mate. You know what I mean? It's like I said earlier on, everyone has their own story to tell. And what happened to me in the time that I was in the spotlight was a meteoric rise in a small scale compared to like Hollywood and whatnot. Couple of fucking things went wrong along the way, and I'm out the other side, basically the same lad I was before, and that's nice, man. It never went to me head. I mean, like there was fucking wild behavior back in the day, but like that's normal for a young man who's just been thrust into the world of TV and coin and been invited to places I wouldn't have usually been able to go to. So yeah, as my mother always say, and take that, Howard, never forget where you're coming from. Bradley Clancy, now man, I try to share your streams as much as I can. Look at Blind Boy. We just need to get your channel out there more. I only found you this year, didn't even know you were on socials. My man Bradley. Yeah, man, I try to be as fucking real as possible, even if it's at my own detriment. I'll do it, because I do think looking back in a few years, people are going to realize that the whole fucking thing's been a big con job, along with a lot of other things, and there'll be no vindication. Do you know what I mean? Like people like myself, or people who've gone before me, who've put their neck out on the line and their reputations, and they've been totally blackballed and defunded, deplatformed. It'll just be like they'll be forgotten about. The people who the ones who've been trying to speak up, because a lot. I just don't get it, man. A lot of these people who were against big pharma, war, finance, they've inadvertently found themselves being beguiled by people posing as advocates for fairness, equality, and justice. It's like sure, even like the likes of BuzzFeed, there was this like venture capitalist who invested in all these like sensationalist clickbait articles because they knew that they were going to get big money from inciting people's anger, and that would drive advertising revenue. So like people were just people having their emotions messed with, man, for clicks. Ryan Dawn, Happy New Year, mate. Sad Durkin and the boys are going away on Netflix. Cheers in the Philippines. My man Ryan, fair play. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. I'd say you're enjoying the weather too, Ryan. Fair fucks to you. Humanity forgets to be humane every 20, 40 years or so. Yeah, that's true. Using the whole animal is best. Using the whole animal is the best respect you can give. Yeah, like my parents grew up on farms in the the 50s, 60s, and every bit of the animal was used. Like there's no wastage. Like now, like I go to the supermarket near me, you'll find nothing in terms of offal or only like the best cuts, and you're kind of wondering, well, where's. But then if you go out to the suburbs where there's like more of a lower socio-economic vibe, or a lot of people who are like immigrants from the Middle East and other places like that, they're still eating eyeballs, brain, offal, tripe, and it's very popular. Like I took my daughter in. We went out to Tenster, which is near Rinkeby, and we were in the supermarket, and I was like, "Look at that, sheep's testicles." She's like, "What are testicles?" I'm like, sheep's balls. He was like, "Ugh!" She got freaked out because she'd not seen these kind of and this is what like my parents would have been probably eating back in the day. I mean, if you eat the organs, there's a lot of nutrients in the organs. Roadkill. I've never eaten any roadkill. Oil on the road is it true? Stateside was born with a beard, but at least they drew one on with a permanent marker. You're in Sweden since when? Hey, I've been here for years, mate. Mark Alistair. I was at a riot in the city once. Sounds like great crack. I always wanted to be in the middle of a riot for the crack. And some asshat lit a pig head on fire atop a USA flag, and this happened in the same crowd that screams land back. It blew my mind because the natives wouldn't waste. Are a lot of these fucking people who think that they're absolute radicals and revolutionaries, to just fucking spoilt brats who just fucking they just need to grow up, man. Do you know what I mean? Bill Gates wants us eating lab-grown meat. Hey, look, if it's good stuff, I'd fucking eat it. I'd just be making mad fucking triple cheeseburgers the whole time. Justin Scrow says pigs, cows, chickens, all horrible for the animals. The pig shit is bad for everyone. Yeah, I mean, it was also there's if you look at king prawns are fucking terrible for what they do to the environment. You know, they're usually grown in mangroves in places like Malaysia or Indonesia, Cambodia, where basically they chop down a section of a mangrove and build these ponds, and in the ponds the prawn the life cycle of a pond is 7 years, and afterwards it's like toxic waste. You can't use it, it's done. And so they just have all these empty ponds, and in the middle of the pond, because it's not fresh water and they're not changing the water, this is why you get like a muddy taste from king prawns. So what they're doing to stop the prawns from getting sick from eating generations of shit, years of shit, which is that muddy taste, they put antibiotics into and it gets even worse because apparently the pellets used to feed these prawns comes from trawlers that basically they drag everything up off the bottom of the seabed, put the best fish on ice, sell that at the market, and then any other shite like coral or mud, plankton, small bits, they'll put that as slurry in the hole, and then that's designed to be packed and compressed into pellets. But in some of these boats, apparently, like these poor lads who are taken from Cambodia, if there's like a blockage or a problem, it's been known that they send them down, and the methane that comes off this slurry is so overpowering that people will fall in, and rather going in and risk someone trying to save these people, they just get ground up and put into slurry. So there probably is a fair chance that sometimes in this making of king prawns that you might be eating human DNA. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. I used to love them before that, especially nice teriyaki prawns. Ooh. Justin Scrow, thanks for the kind words. I'm 41. I've written 5 novels. There you go, mate. I've only written half a novel. 23 screenplays, released 11 albums of music, and I'm going back to school to be a clinical psychologist. There you go, mate. You know what I mean? Send me over what you've done, mate. And just go to hardybooks@gmail. Let me see. Like if any of you guys have any, because I haven't been using this email address, but I need to like if you have any anything to send me or anything interesting, you can send it to hardybookspodcast@gmail.com. So I'll put that. But yeah, if you got anything that interesting, because I've been a bit lazy, I haven't really checked it. I'll put it into, even if you want me to talk about anything or give you any of you guys a shout out musically or whatnot, I'm happy to do so. So you can email me there, lads. But yeah, good on you, Justin, mate. Fair play. The book's planning a big dirty, that like the fucking Trailer Park Boys. I remember seeing the Trailer Park Boys Big Dirty trailer, being like, "Oh, this looks shit." And then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that was good. I enjoyed that." Stateside versus Chuck Norris. Stateside would sit on his chest, man. Any snow on Sweden side? Your old lady. I believe so. It's supposed to be snowing. Oh, there's some snow on the roof. Snow on the roof. Imran Triple Q. Got any goals predictions for 2022? Feels like things are on the verge of change. I feel that too, mate. I'm gonna put that up. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? I gave up on I gave up on New Year's resolutions a long time ago because I was just like, fuck it, what's the point? I think things are on the verge of change. I think people, like I said, humans need to be free. We're a free, we should be free to do what we like. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get loaded. God damn it. Neo says, I buy half a cow and it feeds me for an entire year. That's half of one death to feed me for that long. Yeah, I often wonder, like, when it comes to animals, parts of how many animals has the average human being eaten in their lives? I also look at the same amount of like, how much alcohol have I drunk in my life, and could I fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool? It's another thing I had to think about. I'm Indian, and they are literally delicacy recipes for every part of a goat or cow. Indian food, man, it is. It's definitely up there with one of my favorites. I love Indian food. It's just bloody difficult to get right, like especially using ghee. I'm not talking about ghee. I'm talking about clarified butter. Like I've often tried to make. I make a really good, tikka masala or korma, but it just still feels like it's missing something, and I can't figure it out. You go to I think it's probably the lack of cream, because I try and make one with a bit of less saturated fat. But when you go to a good Indian restaurant, man, it's the bee's knees. American Shorthall, you still with me? Fair folks. All these messages are from like 5 minutes ago, so I'm a bit late. Have you ever been on the hunt for a skin? I have. The COVID turning the room upside down looking for skin for Rolly. Hard times, man. Hard times. Like that. You got the fucking South Dublin hard times, man. Let me see. I'd rather kill one cow and feed myself for 2 years than kill 100 chickens or more. Yeah, fair enough. You know what I mean? If reincarnation is real, I'm not coming back to this earth. Plain Kip. Justin Scroll, that shrimp. We're going back to the stuff we were talking about there. Immer Sim, good to see you, baby boy. How are you doing? How are you, Shawnee boy? He says. That shrimp stuff sounds horrible. I worked at Red Lobster and low quality seafood can be quite rank. Born Sticky says, farmed fish salmon is some of the most toxic food in the world. Yeah, I mean, it's like the color of it is fucking disgusting. It's like you try like salmon you catch down yourself, like we catch in the River Moy. You try that salmon and you put it on the grill with a bit of salt, bit of foil, bit of salt and pepper, bit of lemon. Man, it's unreal. It's unreal, man. It's unreal. The human prawn. That sounds like something some horror movie lads in America do. Roisin Mac, good to see you, love. I don't touch seafood after projectile food poisoning off prawns. Soylent Green, says fucking Shawnee. Sim, I love seafood, but I've always hated the texture of prawns. Well, I quite like it. I quite like prawns, man. I remember once when I was a kid, my squids have the same story. They could eat anything, really. They're fucking cephalopods, man. Or is it cephalopods? Ever seen Fubar? Fubar, the film. I remember seeing a film called Birdie with Nicolas Cage once and being really fucking disturbed because there's a bit where I think they have real dead dogs in it and being butchered. And that fucking not good, man. Not good. Fubar, the film. Let's see, film. I think I have heard of it before. 2002 Canadian film by Michael Dowse and written by Dave Lawrence, Michael Dowse, and Paul Spence. Let's see what it says. Looks like it could be a bit of crack. Canadian film. Terry Hall and Dean Murdoch, who are constantly drinking beer. Fubar, Sundance. I have heard of that actually. Yeah, I must have a little look at that later on. Yeah, do be in contact there. Anyone who wants to get in contact with me over email, it's there. Rubber dub dub. How long would it take to drink a swimming pool? It'd be like when you see a fly fall into a pint and it died. Martin O'Brien, any hash? Oh, cephalopod, says Neo. I think a cephalopods is a fucking long-necked dinosaur, if I'm not mistaken. Fubar, please watch, brother. I will. Very hardy books like. I'll have to watch that. One thing I never watched was Napoleon Dynamite, man. It was one of those like cult classics that I never watched before, and I think maybe it's a bit late to watch it at this stage. I don't know, man. I don't know. Chip O'Donoghue up at the bar used to sell shrimps by the bag from his trench coat. Thank you, MJ, for reminding me. When I was a kid, my dad came back from the pub one night with just a massive bag of fresh shrimp. I'll tell you one thing, man. It was fucking delicious. We were just sat in there, just like peeling them. And they were sweet, man. They were like fresh Irish sea, enriched with fucking uranium from Sellafield. Imran QQQ. Are you still playing music with your band? I thought your EP was very good writing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I will put that up to remind people of it. It's on Spotify, but do if you got Spotify, put that on and listen to it in your playlist. Thank you very much. Yeah, there was a lot of heart and soul written to that. It was at a time when my son was just born, and I would have spent €3,500 on something a little bit more appropriate So it caused a lot of beef with the ex-wife. So for the sake of that, please listen to it. Finn Hoare, fair play, you've done the maths on this. There is 5,300,000 pints in an Olympics-sized swimming pool, according to Google. A few more sessions of filling her yet, hey. That's good. That's good. How do you do such a good Irish accent? I'm an Irishman. Do you know what I mean? I'm fucking Irish. You know what I mean? Even though I was raised beyond in England. Fucking spent a good fucking 13 years there, hey. Sometimes I wonder, do I speak like this because I'm putting it on, or is it just actually that's how I do speak? I don't know anymore. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it just comes out as an Irish accent. Don't know. You like Napoleon Dynamite, says Justin Scrow. It's very clever for a PG movie, which in the States means you only have to be 10 years old to see it. My mother used to let me watch Aliens when I was 10 and Predator 2, which had a fully grown naked woman in it and some bad dudes called King Willie's Voodoo Dudes. Good times, man. Good times. Like that would be the crack in school. You'd see lads who would have like cable or older brothers, and they got to sit in watching like mad movies, and they'd be telling you about them, and you'd be like, "Fuck, that's crazy, man." Yeah, it's him, and he's amazing. Yeah, there's a bit where like he puts his heart through this punk's chest and pulls out his heart, mate. I was like, "Fuck, that sounds mad." I remember like watching Terminator 2, thinking when I was about 11, going, "Oh, this is a bit much, mate. This is a bit dark." And then Terminator 2 being a bit more, you know, don't kill anyone. Affirmative. August 4th, Skynet. Midas Dyson. Here lads. I like that for a username. Here lads. Martin, what do you reckon the best Irish band or artist is right now? Don't really been listening to any new music, to be honest. I mean, looking at like DC Fontaines, and I don't really know much about them, but they seem to be doing well. Josh McCrawley, he's doing some good stuff. I play to him, but don't really. I mean, I should be spending more time in it, but I just got this fucking same playlist that I've been listening to for the last 15 years that I just listen to, and I'm like sometimes really bored of it, and then just add some new songs into the mix. Marky Shorthall, have you ever heard Luke Kelly's poem "For What Died the Sons of Roisin"? It's about Ireland being sold off to the point where strangers in it. Highly recommended checking it out, like Temple Bar Arch. Yeah, but look, Ireland it's like the butchered sow. Do you know what I mean? And you got these greedy bastards who are sucking at the teats. That's a bit of an extreme. That was something that I wrote for one of French Toast's live stream or live shows once. It was like they're like the fucking piglets sucking at the sow of the tits of a butchered sow. But Roshan said I was listening to Kings of Leon on Kings of Leon. Reminds me of college. Yeah, it reminds you like back in the day. At the time, I was like Kings of Leon, but it was good to listen back to. Emily 7 seemed to be doing all right. Liam Gallagher gave them high praise. If you're looking, is that Beetlejuice in your profile picture? TPM are great. Two boys from Dundalk. Kings of Leon, Kanye West. Oh ho ho. Fucking. Here I go with the swearing again. Did you see one of the Freemason halls got burnt out in Dublin the other day? Fair play to them. Well, I saw that up on Reddit today, and then the original poster, like Reddit Ireland, man, like sometimes it can be great, and sometimes you've got some real daft pricks on there as well. That came up today, and I was like, how do you know it wasn't was it burnt out, or was it just an accidental fire? Let's see what it says. So it says here, just to get the new year off with a bang, the QAnon anti-vaxxers have set fire to the Freemasons Lodge in Dublin. How do they know it was them? Like, do you know what I mean? Strange. Someone wrote, are the rules different in Europe? In the US, you would just have to be invited. As kids, my friends and I went to check out the local lodge. Two of my friends joined, mostly for shits and giggles. Some sort of special program for youth members. Forgot the name. They went to meetings every week. No clue what they discussed. They wouldn't describe the meetings to me, but yeah, the lodge in our area really wanted youth members because most of the members were old and they didn't want to lose their lodge. So I was told I didn't join because a bunch of old guys for kids to join their club seemed weird to me. Edit, Knights of Demolay was the youth club name. In the US, you don't have to be invited for membership. You just have to be approved as an application to get to get just into the building, just asked to be shown around or for a public event. Mostly Freemasons are thrilled to death to show stuff off. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know what the crack is there. Reddit Immersim says Reddit Ireland is incredibly cringe. I mean, I'd say there's a lot of people fed posting up there, to be honest with you. That seems to be a new word that people are using. G-Rose says, any lodge is connected to bad things. Reddit in general is, you know what? I never got into Reddit. I remember fucking the Viper in real life years ago going, oh, have you got on Reddit? It's great. And it was just basically like a shite comment section of YouTube. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know, I just wasn't into it, man. It wasn't my scene. It just wasn't my scene. And now it's like, it's very fucking, just, you won't find much nuanced discussion on there. You know what I mean? There's like, I think anyone who says anything that goes against what the general consensus on the thread is just gets their comment removed, and it's like by a mod. So it's like, have a fucking conversation or don't bother having it at all. And if your opinion is shit or it's nonsense, then it will be thrown to the common lot. We should send stateside into a Masons undercover with a hidden GoPro. We should send a GoPro in with an undercover stateside. Roshi Mac, my boyfriend's brother in Glasgow is a Freemason and also a big Hun. There's a lot of Huns who are in that up there, man. The whole Orange Order the Orange Order is based on the same stuff with like fucking the big eye and all that, the big floating eyeball. The two of them go hand in hand, but he's very touchy if you ask him anything about those boys. Look out, Beach. Good to see you, laddie. We're all at the precipice of a major crossroad, my friend. It feels like it, and hopefully we go the right way and not into some fucking nightmare. But supply lines are stretched, and I think all this shit is done by design, man. I think you know, a lot of truckers are talking about being orange equals 33. That's interesting, board sticky. But yeah, a lot of supply lines are being hit. You look at most wars are over disputed trade routes or natural resources. And that's just the long and the short of it. Oh, Neo or downvoted to death. Yeah, that's it. Which Taoiseach would make it furthest in a Royal Rumble? I'd say Enda Kenny because he's got like good cardio. Inja. Wouldn't want him round at the dinner table at Christmas, Roisin Mac, says Immer Sim. One of the best lines of Sopranos ever. One of the best lines was the time when Johnny Sack's daughter is just about heading off, and then the feds turn up. And he's like, "Hey, give him a break! It's his daughter's wedding day." And Johnny Sack starts crying, and then Paulie Walnuts goes, "Looks like Johnny's carriage turned into a pumpkin." And everyone's like, "Yo, T, favorite dictator, probably Kim Jong-un. He's fresh, he's new, he's got his finger on the pulse with the youngsters. He's lost a lot of weight lately. Emerson, he's got a great steaming at a family party and started singing the Billy Boys at me completely unprovoked. Oh, fuck me. I'd be like, taxi. Outlaw Barber, I did a vlog called Power Structure of the World. Check it out, Martin. Tell me what you think. You're doing some good stuff there, Outlaw Barber. Anyone who's into some spicy, quick chat, Outlaw Barber. No rulers, no masters. Jeannie Sack had to get a 90-pound mole removed from her ass. What's so funny? You told me you were on the Atkins diet. Johnny, I'm sorry. Fuck that. Paulie with the wings. Actually, if you want to know why Tommy Boo in the Hardy Books had white bits on his temples in the Hardy Books Christmas special, we sent him over to Charlestown to get the hair dyed grey to look like Paulie Walnuts, and she didn't understand what he meant, so he came back with the two wings. But originally, I wanted to try and get him some wings like Paulie Walnuts. Words can be very hurtful. Johnny Sacks. I do have to say, man, have you any idea what you've done? Johnny Sack. I have to say, man, Sopranos still remains my all-time favorite. I mean, I had everything from drama to just great comedy. Yeah, Bradley, that was true. Like he was like, she didn't understand what it was. I was like, Tom, that's not what we wanted. But what, like, yeah, but I was like, it looks pretty cool at the same time because I kind of based a lot of the boo on Paulie Walnuts. To be honest, like, what are the fucking UN now? What are we, the fucking UN? Yeah, I always thought Johnny Sacks was one of my favorite characters. I loved it the way he was Paulie Walnuts. Who was it that was telling Johnny's very happy, Paul? He's very happy with what you're saying. Who was it that was leading Paulie Walnuts on, telling him that Johnny Sack was really pleased with him, and then he meets him at a party. He's like, "Here he is, hey Johnny Sacks." He's like, "Yeah, who are you?" He's like, "What the fuck?" Um, who was it? Let me just see. Paulie Walnuts. Out. Johnny Sack doesn't know him. Oh, this is the moment when Paulie realized Johnny Sack hasn't been playing him or has been playing him. Let me see. I'd put this up right as a Carmine Senior. Oh, let me see. Carmine, hey, what are you doing here? Small world. The groom's dad is my third cousin. Beautiful ceremony, huh? Oh, I think that was it. That was it. That was right. Yeah, it was Johnny Sack that was telling Carmine. He's like, your father was run over by a trolley, right? Oh, Paulie Galtieri from Jersey. Johnny was talking to you about that, right? Story, man, sure. Or when Tony acts like he hasn't been disrespecting the ball women. Man, like I really did. I think I started watching series one about 6 months ago. I'm gonna have to get back into it. The look on Paulie's face. If anyone wants to see that, I'll put it up in the comment section. He was an interior designer. What? His apartment looked like shit. 16 Czechoslovakians. Ooh, Anthony, don't talk to you. Don't talk to your mother like that. Go to your Uncle Junior. It's a shame. It's a shame that Tony never had the makings of a varsity athlete. Your old lady never did have the makings for that. Fucking shit again. Your sisters can't. They were at a Puerto Rican wedding. Yeah, Ralphie was the time when Ralphie's obsessed with what's this? Russians. They ain't all bad. Are you kidding? Ever heard of the Cuban Missile Crisis? They had nukes pointing right at us. I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit. Mayo Khan 82. Have you ever been checked for Tourette's or anything? With the hey D, why you gotta be so mean? I love the way I love the way the guy in the bar who brings the Billy Bass fish, he just gets clobbered with it. Yeah, that's the other. That's what I meant to say. And he's also involved when Ralphie is obsessed with the Gladiator, and he's watching Kirk Douglas and Gladiator. He's like, "Look at the guy's fucking hair." Ray Liotta almost played Ralphie. Oh man, that's an interesting one. You hear that, Tone? I said I'm on pills for cheeky boys. Word to the wise, my friend. Remember Pearl Harbor. You've been eating sushi again. Yeah. I'd like to... You know the way you had the Michael Imperioli and the man who plays Bobby Baccalara? The way that's sick. That's what this is. Sick shit. Evil black magic voodoo. Fucking quiz. I'm asking you to leave. I was like, Paulie, how's that poison ivy? That one's laughing. And there's another. Who you been talking to? Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. It's sick shit. That's what it is. Voodoo black magic. Satanic black magic. Oh, yeah. Fucking quiz. What I love about that scene, right? You left me unprotected, Father. Paulie, that's divination. What I really love about that scene, it's so well directed because there's no one there in the corner of the room, but there is. It's a character like in itself. That one's laughing. Who you fucking talking to? Do you really want me to say in front of all these people? Emerson, thank you very much for the super chat. Now, Anthony, think about it. Why would people who eat with sticks invent something you need a fork to eat? Oh, man. You know, T, snake is one of the only animals in the world that can go fuck itself. So when you call someone a snake, it means he can go fuck himself. I've been paying your parents good money for what? Oh, gods. Fuck that shit. Oh, man, yeah, it's like, she's so fat she goes camping. The bears have to hide their food. Oh, man. You ever wonder about that thing? Here. Ever wonder about that thing with Notre Dame? You know, the hunchback of Notre Dame. Then you also got the quarterback and also the lineback. You know, Quasimodo predicted all this. Quasimodo's the fucking hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh, yeah, this bit where, yes, Paulie and Chris cannot wait to say, well, he looks fucked. You don't look so good. You could never write that shit today. Oh, man, like, I really miss just fucking honest dialogue in characters. The actor who played Paulie Walnuts was once connected to the actual real-life mafia. I think it was Sean Thornton who sent me a video of the man, the Bull. He was like an ex-guy in the Gotti mob, and he was saying that these new guys came down and they opened a shop down the road. They were straight in from Italy. And I walked in there, and we were having a card game when they broke up the windows in the place in a clothes store we had. And I went in there with a buddy of mine, and we went in packing. And we went down there, and we spoke to the main guy, and all his guys got up downstairs. We took out we exchanged some words, and he said, if I want to, you're not going to leave this room. And I pulled out my piece, and I said, listen, I'll splatter your brains all over the fucking wall. We might not get out of here, but you won't either. And they knew we were connected guys after that. The irony of Chris and Paulie talking about how they need to be careful after they brain that waiter. Don't you Tony impression once again? There's fucking gas, you know. It was fucking that nice. You know, my father was a great man. My mother, she wore him down till he was a fucking little nub of a man. Why'd you have to go and do that to a horse? It's a beautiful creature. It was a fucking horse, Tony. A fucking big, stupid animal. Anyway, they say my son, he might be on a tube for the rest of his life. When I used to make scrambled eggs, sour cream. Anyway, like the fucking horse. She burned alive in the fucking stable. Burned alive in the fucking stable there. Fucking innocent horse. I like where he's with that hot chick who was selling the Mercedes. She was played by Annabella Sirocco. She was nice. Was it Gloria? Gloria. And she's like, yo, where's your fucking steak? You want your fucking steak? And she throws the steak at his head. And then Patsy Parisi, she takes him out. So what, you like the car? Now listen, this is a message from Tony. You leave him alone, you leave his family alone. Otherwise, that'll be the last face you see. And it's not going to be cinematic. Just your brains blown out all over the window. Anything that Carmine Jr. says is gold. He's such a jabroni. I remember reading an article about Carmine Jr., how he was like, was he secretly a genius? Because he managed to get out of the business and basically leave other people running the show with him doing his own thing. But let's see if I got some Carmine Jr. quotes. Brainy quote. What's to say here? When you're editor-in-chief of a big magazine, you cannot be a cover girl for Mac. You cannot be the face of Da Vinci. Of course you can. It doesn't go with the job. Karine Reutfeld. That's not Carmine Jr. Get the fuck out of here. You jabroni. Carmine Jr. I accidentally wrote Karine. Okay, Lupa Tazzi Jr. SopranosBlueprint.com. Okay, what's it say here? The fundamental question is, will I be as effective as a boss like my dad was? And will I be even more so? But until I am, it's going to be hard to verify that. I think I'll be more effective. I won't let what happened to my father happen to me. Your brother Billy, whatever happened there, it wasn't about being boss. It was about being happy. I'm reminded of Louis, the whatever's finance minister. He built this shadow. Nicole and I saw it when we went to Paris. It even outshone Versailles, where the king lived. In the end, Louis clapped him in irons. Describing Tony, he's an old-fashioned guy. Pop, very allegorical. He's a bit of a poser, if you ask me. Much like a child, a film has many parents. That is to say, many individuals who act like parents. Or that, by aversion, the film is their baby. I, as executive producer, am one of those individuals. Cleaver. There's one thing my father taught me, it's this. A pint of blood costs more than a gallon of gold. What happened to Coco's restaurant? This alteration you had with him? You're at the precipice, Tony, of an enormous crossroad. Now, for whatever reason, certain incidents have expired lately that, in addition to being dangerous, could have an adverse impact on our respective bottom lines. So there you go. That was the best. Mike and Sean, thanks very much. The expression, the breathing down to a T. Thank you. Yes, she played a crazy bitch perfectly, says Emma Sim. Annabella Sirocco, that's her name, was in Jungle Fever. It was a Wesley Snipes love interest. She was a very beautiful woman. Justin Scroll, well, Martin, I just sent you a horse of an email. Glad I'll fucking look at it tomorrow. The character development was amazing. Sacred in the propane. Look out, beast. Man, did you watch the Sopranos movie that came out? No, I was actually going to watch that tonight. Or Shawnee says, that movie was, now that's a disappointment because I was very much looking forward to seeing the prequel lore of Sopranos. Yes, the new Sopranos with James's son playing him. Movie was meh. Oh, Martin, you forgot. He never would have made the varsity team. His hands were too small. Outlaw Bob says, what do you think of the Many Saints of Newark? I didn't like it. James Gandolfini's son did a pretty good job of his first major role, though. He fucking wanted to. I just wanted to see James' son. Nothing really happened in the whole movie. I mean, if you could distill the review of Many Saints of Newark, you could say, well, nothing really fucking happened. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll give you I'll give you a review of that. So well, but I think it's 4:05. I didn't realize it was getting this late. Time flies when you're talking about depressing shit and having a laugh and breaking balls. It was great to be here. It seems a lot of you guys are over there in the States. If you're just waking up now in Australasia or someplace, you're probably drinking some sort of brunch on a beach, being hassled by the Dan Andrews Mafia. Fuck those guys. The guy playing Silvio Dante, worth the ticket price. Silvio Dante. Oh, Silvio Dante, yeah. Little Stevie from E Street Band. Just noticed your avatar is Lee Van Cleef. Says Robogard. Shame the original writers directed. Shame when the original writers directed did it. It's a shame. David Chase. It's 10:06 here. Where are you now, Neo? You're over on the West Coast. Hey, Fontaine, where's your son? More like Lick Van Clit. Do you ever remember that in Father Ted, where it's like, Clit Power? What does that mean? I knew a Father Clint Power once. Yeah, and then Sting fell down the stairs. Lads, the new Spider-Man, what the fuck? Haven't seen it. A lot of people talking about it. Some people say it's good. But I think Marvel, man, they're pumping out too many movies. You know what I mean? There's like really fucking random characters like Can Man fires fucking cans of Pabst Blue Ribbon at people. Did you ever watch that Netflix show with Silvio Dante and it, Lilyhammer? It was cancelled. Oh, it was called. That was all right. Yeah, I watched the first couple of episodes, but apparently it gets good on the second season. But fair play to them, man. They kept it going in Norway, and apparently they did well out of that, man. They did very well out of it. Killed a man in 2003. Babsy Nanny. Justin Crowe said, the new Spider-Man was truly enjoyable. Neo says, I never been too big on the superhero shite, even as a kid. Same here. Now and again, I watch the fucking Superman films come on over the Christmas time. Used to see that Marlboro truck being tossed over in Superman 2 by the fucking chick with the short hair and those two bearded fucks wearing leather costumes. Movies are all about, Vipox92 says, movies are all about the message now, unfortunately. You know, I got to go fuck your message. Put your message in a box, drive the box into the car, drive the car around the world till you get hurt, but leave fucking films to be films. Spoilers. They managed to get Pauline Walnuts and Bruce Springsteen in the show. Emma Sim. Apparently, Ellen Page is going to be the next James Bond. She started off in fucking Trailer Park Boys as Leahy's daughter. Good night, Martin. I had a blast. Good on you. Happy Christmas. Or Happy New Year. Good on you, fucking Tyler. You good dude. Evan Jennings. Durkin, what's the story with the show gone from Netflix? We're only left with the legendary webisodes on YouTube, so we'll take it. Listen, Evan, don't get this hot. Like I said 18 times before in the stream already tonight, it's up there. You can check it out on YouTube. Some Chinese site put it up. You have to go fishing around. It won't be in good quality, but hey, do the job, man. I'll do the job. Have you had the COVID yet? Dublin's riddled with it. Coughing me lungs up with them. If I have, I've had it. You know what I mean? I took a test a couple of weeks ago because everyone was sick here in the gaff. Took antigen test, all negative. So I don't know, man. If I've had it, I've probably had it without realizing it. Justin Scrow, thanks for another excellent stream. I was gonna oil my beard, but this was better. Hey, it's fucking no better way to spend it. But new Val Kilmer documentary was brilliant. I must check that out. Actually, I saw something about that. I might have to check that out. I have the Netflix shows on my computer, man. Good. Hey, listen, Neo, has to be done, man. I certainly have taken a lot of stuff off the internet. So I'd be a hypocrite if I was to say, please buy it. I'm not, you know. Thanks for another extreme. Gonna be on my beard. This was better. I like the original better. The music better to ATB and all the old school night. Yeah, that's what I would say as well. The Hardy Books episodes that have been ripped from RTE have all the original tunes because we had to change them because they would have been, you know, royalty. Would have had to pay royalty, so we had to use like royalty free ones.
Martin is Gigavax. He's on his 7th booster. I was taking them for other guys. They was paying me.
Some people are immune to COVID, hey. Especially when they turn the TV off. It just fucking goes away. I heard Leo Varadkar is the new fucking James Bond. 00 fuck. I would buy it if I knew where to get the show. Has brought me tons of happiness and got me through some hard times. That was the idea, lads. That was the idea. Joseph Sullivan, you're very welcome. It's on Amazon. I wouldn't mind having the last 2 series we didn't bother printing because it was the digital age, and then RT Player started playing it. But it would be nice to have all. I don't like. I have first and second series somewhere downstairs and the movie, but I don't have the series 3 was my favorite. Oh, funny if you say that. I watched a year before knowing Culture Club was the theme music for Hardy Book series 3. Didn't know that either. Which is one of the best seasons of comedy ever. I'm going to put that up there, Justin, because series 3 is also my favorite as well. And I bet that for $1. So yeah, miss you and the boys. JL says, wish there was a movie or another series 6. Have a great 2022, sir. Thank you very much, JL. On that note, we're at 2:40, and I wish you all a very peaceful, pleasant, and happy 2022. And hopefully, if I can, I might see if I can get some. And I'll need to get a better computer because I've had the same one since like 2015. So it's nearly 7 years old now. It's a workhorse. But any of you who are catching this now, welcome to the party. Thanks for watching this lately. Yeah, just love and respect one another, man, and tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. And whatever people say about fucking keeping your distance, if you got someone special in your life, you put your arms around them any fucking opportunity you have, and you express the love. And it might sound like some hippie shit, but no, man. Just have a nice year and spend it with people who make you happy, and yeah, just try and live the best life you can, as will I. But on that note, thank you very much for everyone who stuck around for the entire 2 hours and 40 minutes, and everyone who super chatted and donated, and really enjoyed chatting with you all in the comments. So once I'll just address Sean's. It's funny how you mentioned the 3rd series was your favorite. It really comes out in the work. Yeah, it was great crack. That's the kind of stuff we'd like to do again. Who knows what the future holds? There's definitely an appetite for it. But I've really enjoyed this, and thanks for sticking around. And God bless, and Shalom to all you. Good luck, everybody.